GPVWC 2020 is go!
Hello everybody and welcome back to round 10 of the Supercup Championship here in Spa. We are already on the way for qualifying here. It's been a long time since I've had the pleasure of broadcasting this series, but finally we are back on the way, and for the first time this season I am joined by Ewan Gale. Ewan, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks Liam, how are you?
I'm really good. I'm very excited, especially to get back into racing. It's been way too long. At the start of the break, I was happy that I got some spare time for myself, but after about 5 days, I wanted to get back into racing, and it took a while, but we are finally here. We had FC last week, of course, which was very entertaining as well. Now we have Supercup people starting their laps. We have Pedro Gomez, I think, who is the first man to start his lap as he usually is, because of Malta Force's nicely placed grid box at the front. And I would like to talk about some driver changes. First of all, Crossfire have completely overthrown their lineup. They used to have Matteo Keersmakers and David Junt. Matteo Keersmakers has moved up to Super League Lights to race for RSR. And then we have David Junt, who has swapped teams to Malta Force. And instead of them, we have Bobko Hoekstra making his, if I'm correct, debut in Supercup for this year. And then Steven Lexo, who has done great in FC this year, is now driving some Supercup. Two really good drivers, and they need them because they're fighting for the championship. What do you think about this move, Ewan? Sorry.
I think it's interesting, Liam. Crossfire have had a strong season so far, especially collecting the points in the second race, getting themselves in position to do that. Interesting that obviously Junt's gone to Malta Force. He said Keersmakers has gone up into Super League Lights, probably deserved as well. But Vodka and Steven are a strong driver lineup, and you would expect them to carry on the form that Crossfire have had.
Absolutely, yeah. And they were in this practice, they were 4th and 6th, which is very good for them. In practice, actually, Pedro Gomez, who has found some very good form, and he's showing that in qualifying as well, has a very good Sector 1, not purple. That one is on Quinte, who got a slipstream from his teammate, but he does get a purple Sector 2, and he's coming across the line doing a 47.9 here. Great first time. That is actually the fastest time anyone has ever set, with practice included. He did a 47.7 though, so he can go a bit faster, but he's on great form. And to be fair, when he came into this series, I was kind of disappointed with his results because I know him as a Super League driver and a very capable one as well. I think it was 2018 where he got some very solid results. And to see him fighting for about P7 to P8 was a bit disappointing, but he's really, become himself again in the last few races.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'll be interesting to see what he does tonight. It's going to be an important qualifying session, this, because we saw last week in the Formula Challenge, it was a bit of a slipstream fest, and everyone pulled each other along, and you couldn't really get past another car unless there was a gap in front of them. So it'll be interesting to see what the different teams do tonight, whether they do try and slipstream each other into a faster time in qualifying, or whether they just see where they end up.
Absolutely, and I think as well in the race, the slipstream fest will be a tiny bit less of an issue because overtaking I think should be easier. If you're the lead car in a train, I think you are a sitting duck. But talking about qualifying, we still have Pedro Gomez on pole with that 47.9, 2 tenths behind him. Well, ignore that. It's not Frank Hemming anymore. Leon Buck just sets the second fastest time, 7/100ths of a second slower than Pedro Gomez in second now. Then Frank Hemming third, Bobko Hoekstra fourth, and Steven Lexo for Crossfire fifth. So Crossfire 4 and 5, their lineup change seems to be pretty good so far.
Yeah, they're two really good drivers, like we just said. They're both fast in pretty much everything they've raced this season, and Lexo's obviously got a race win this season as well, with Crossfire at round 1. Be interesting to see what Buck and Kintai do in this. You know, they seem to have a bit of a monopoly over qualifying this season,
Yes.
and you know, it's going to be quite a nice thing to have if you've got the most poles ahead of someone else when they're both racking them up like that. So be interesting to see which one of them comes out on top between each other.
Yeah, it really will be, because Quinte, especially at the start of the season, he has been a monster. He got pole after pole after pole. I think he got either 3 or 4 poles in a row at the start of the season. But then Leon Buck came in, really showed what he can do. He started dominating races, even came into Super League Lights and really, really showed impressive pace, impressive tire wear. Got 2 podiums in 2 races. He's really shown to be a top tier driver, and for sure his brother has learned him a thing or two, who is now currently leading the championship in Super League. So a really talented family. And Leon, indeed, he's gotten a lot of pole positions, and he's looking for another one here. Quinte doesn't have a time yet. I think he's getting a slipstream right now from his teammate, who is not Opacini, who has been in the rest of the season. So nice slipstream there, given by the new teammate of Quinte. It's Giuseppe Lino, if I pronounced that correctly. So let's see what Quinte can do on this lap.
Yeah, like I said, he's very fast. It looked like he was on a lap earlier and came into the pit, so I don't know whether he had an iffy middle sector.
Yeah, I think the slipstream was a bit ruined, because they gave the slipstream during a rouge, which gave him massive dirty air, and he almost spun.
There you go. Yeah, so compromise the lap coming. There's no need to waste time. It is a long lap around Spa as well. So clear that they are using that slipstream tactic. Let's see whether that pays dividends.
It does, and ooh, there's a spinner there, Quinte, going right through.
Holy.
Oh, that has definitely ruined this lap. He scored a goal, though, and he was the ball. That was really close in between 2 cars. That really reminds me of Raikkonen with Hamilton in 2007. I think at the exact same spot, where there was a car on the grass. I think it was Kimi, actually, who then narrowly avoided Rosberg.
Yeah,
really
when it was raining. Raining.
And eventually he crashed in this corner right here.
Yeah. I'd say, well, it'd be interesting if there was a bit of rain tonight. I haven't seen the weather forecast, but I think we should be clear for the night.
Yeah, I haven't actually looked too much into it. I know that this week in general was going to be pretty dry, but we've seen 3% chance of rain, and then it ended up pouring down. And Supercup especially has seen quite a bit of rain races. So obviously it would be great fun, though I don't really expect it. Quinte is pulled into the bits, and honestly, he got a purple sector 1, obviously, with a slipstream, as my race view is lagging a bit behind, so I can't properly see the sector times clearly. But obviously got blocked in sector 2, and he still has no time with 6 minutes on the clock. Pedro Gomez, though, on a lap currently. Need to manually check if he's up on his time, and he is just barely. And his lap looks pretty clean so far, coming into the final couple of corners of sector 2. And I'm curious to see what he will set in sector 2 as well.
Yeah, definitely. Menno Klantz on the lap as well now. It looked as if he got a little bit wide through Les Combes there. Now down into Rivage. That was better. He's kept a nice line. It's really technical, this middle sector, and it does mean that you can't just take all the wing off and go completely ballistic down the main straight into Les Combes. So it'll be interesting to see come race time as well what setups the guys have gone on, because that will really dictate who's going to be able to overtake and who isn't.
Yep, absolutely. I think one of the guys with low wings is about to cross the finish line now, as we see Menno spinning. Don't hit the wall. That could be end of qualifying. Ooh, is this engine still running? Pedro Gomez does not improve, and the engine is still running for Menno. So that is it's easy to do here. With all the AstroTurf, I know Menno didn't hit the AstroTurf, but it's so easy to spin it on the AstroTurf and lose a wheel, especially on, for example, Pujon. It's so easy to overdo it there, and you will just hit the wall and lose a tire, and that's qualifying over. And especially for Menno, with a 2 minute 1 on the clock, which is obviously not a good time for him. That would be devastating, but he's kept it running. He's going to go to the pits now and going to try and do another lap. As Steven Lexo's just at pole position. Talking about the crossfires, wow.
Yeah, it's a good lap, that is. Menno, Fania just eggs you on to go a little bit faster than you actually can. It's a sort of medium speed chicane, and he just took a little bit too much pacing, didn't he? But yeah, Lexo's flying. It's very close between him and Gomez at the moment, but we do know that the two Pescaras have got a lot in the bag as well.
Check their teammate though, Bobko Hoekstra, P3. wow, we know what Wopko can do. He hasn't won a race this season, which is really surprising because I don't know how many second positions he has gotten this year yet in Formula Challenge, but he's been a bit unlucky with reverse grid races. He's never been up there, getting that amazing position in Formula Challenge. So he always finished high up, but never quite got that win. And they seem to have nailed the setup here. They're 1 and 3 ahead of Leon Buck, who is now actually coming out of the final turn. Is he on a hot lap? I think he is. Oh, and there we go. Oh, that's 3 tenths slower actually for Leon Buck. So Leon, so far, disappointing, which is not even that bad. He's still 4th, but he's been absolutely smashing the field. And I think he may be waiting to give a slipstream to his teammate right now. Oh, he's not actually, I don't think. No, I don't think so.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Quintay, though, because obviously that 4th position for Buck will not look as bad if Quintay doesn't get a clean lap in after his first 2.
Oh, yeah. For sure, yeah, he's still 24th without any time at all. And I like Pescara. They've always gone for the... Well, obviously, I like Pescara, but they've always gone for the weird strategies. Well, not the weird strategies, but the alter strategies. And they like doing slipstream. They seem like a very well-organized team. You know, they do slipstreams every race. They just did it again. They set a purple sector 1. And now, I think Quintay is on a lap. Let's see if it's a good one. 32.2 and a 46.3. That is a pretty good lap. I don't think it's going to be good enough for pole. I think it will be in the top 5, though. Let's see what Quintay does as he comes across the line. Ooh, second. Really good final sector and puts it up to P2. And now I'm sure he's going to give his teammate Giuseppe Lino a slipstream, who I think came in last minute. I'm not sure. So any places he can get would be brilliant. Ooh, needs to be not held up there, and he doesn't. So let's see how well the slipstream will be, if it happens at all.
There seems to be quite a big gap between the 2 guys, so I don't know. You know, it's going to be quite late in the day that he's going to get out the way in it, Quintay. So yes. Yeah, that's a fantastic lap. That is.
It really is. I'm curious. Ooh, Quintay. I'm wondering if he maybe is going to give a slipstream on Blanchimont. I don't know what the whole straight is called, but near Blanchimont. Maybe that's faster. I haven't honestly tested that myself. So I would be curious to see, because obviously on the Blanchimont straight, I'm just going to call it, you don't have any DRS. So the slipstream could be way more powerful, and he's not actually giving him a slipstream. He's slowing down. Talking about disappointing though, I would say Jannis Walborn. Currently P. Quintay just spins. But he's fine. Jannis Walborn, P13. He is 9 tenths of 1 second actually off the pace. And talking about very good, Scott Mitchell in 8th. Great job. Only 6 tenths off of pole position. He's in 8th. Great job by him. I think he's currently on a lap. No, he's not. He's on an in lap. Or he's just pushing for 1 more lap. Let's see if he's improving. His sector 1 was a lot faster, but his sector 2 was... Oh no, it wasn't fast actually. He's on a cooldown lap. He may do another one after this, but this one is not going to be an improvement. But great job by him, really. His teammate Jack Nicholson 16th. Qualifying was not their strong suit, so it's good to see them up there.
No, absolutely. It's a great lap from Scott, and you know quite well as well, Liam. You know, there's a little bit of banter between those 2 in that team. I say
not just
quite a
bit.
lot.
Yes.
Yeah, quite a lot. Yeah, so that will, if he can keep in the top 10 in qualifying year, I think he'll take that one with a little pinch of salt when he Jack Nicholls. So yeah, that's an interesting one. And Yunt up there in his first race for Malta Force as well. Thomas Harvey, we know he's been doing really well in Formula Challenge. He's in the top 10 as well. So yeah, a bit of a mixed up grid really.
Is he in the top 10? He just got knocked out, and again. But you're very right. You're very right. He's done a great job. He got I think he qualified 2nd in the last race. No, that's a lie. He was 5th, but that's still good. He's done a really good job indeed, and he's on a lap right now. So let's see if he can improve. Quintay cannot improve actually. He is in the pits and is done for. Lexo is currently on a lap. I need to manually check if he's faster. He is 200s up in sector 1, which is basically just 1 corner and the Rouge, which isn't too difficult in these cars with a lot of downforce. And Steven Lexo has just spun and actually kept it out of the wall, but I don't think it matters. That's qualifying over for him, as I hear another crash sound. Not sure who that is, but oh, it may be Tom Vandervoort actually, who is out now. We see Wopke Hoekstra coming across the turn I don't know the name of, which are many turns, but there he comes onto the sector 2 split. Ooh, that is a track cut. That is a track cut. So even if he does improve, either it gets a penalty or it will be deleted, I reckon. Was he faster though? He was actually by a tenth. So that could have been pole position. It could still be. Obviously, he lost some time with that moment, but it's still a fast lap, and I'm pretty sure that was a track extension.
Yeah, he's coming into the final corner now and through the bus stop. Let's see what he can do. There he goes into the pits. So
he's smart enough for that.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing there. He doesn't want to pick up a penalty further down the line.
No, he wouldn't. And he's still got a great qualifying position so far. He's got Leon Buck breathing down his neck, Frank Hemming breathing down his neck. So let's see what they can do. Sven de Vries as well. We haven't talked about him. His return to the series. He's left Formula Challenge. He's come back to Supercup. And obviously, he was the contender for... I think he was first when he left the series. And now currently he's 10th, obviously, because he missed so many races. But very good driver. He's currently in 7th, which probably a bit disappointing for him. But he is on an improvement. He's 2/10 up on his time.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke on the Formula Challenge broadcast last week. You know, only he knows why he's doing what he's doing in terms of jumping around the different championships, because he had the chance to win most of them. Let's see what he does as he comes across the line.
Ooh. Only gains one position,
sixth.
actually. Yeah, he gained 2/10, but only one position. So 2/10 off pole, less than that. Frank Hemming goes into the pits. Liam Buck now coming across the final chicane.
Fastest middle sector.
Could be a pole position time here. Wouldn't be unsurprising. And he does. He dominates again. It's the 10th difference. Great lap. Dennis Walborn, his teammate, goes into 12th. I'm sure that's not what he wanted. What a smashing lap once again. Out of nowhere, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, all of a sudden, you know, it went from being a close qualifying, a 10th around this track with the rest of the times that have been put up looks like an absolutely massive margin. So, yeah, Buck back on top and looking good for the race as well.
Obviously, yeah, he's always looked good for the race. So it's surprising to see Tom Voss, actually, who is, I'm not sure if he's a one-off, but this is his first Supercup race this year. And he is actually in 8th position, so a very good job by him. He is I think he's about 7th in the standings in Formula Challenge, but Supercup, it's a big step up. Big names here. Obviously, Formula Challenge as well, but I would say Supercup has quite a bit of better drivers here. So being 8th is an amazing job for him in his first race here. Let's see what he can do in the race. But that concludes qualifying. The end results are Leon Buck on pole, Steven Lexo P2 with Quinte on 3, Gomez on 4. Great job by him as well. Wopke Hoekstra as well. Amazing. Dutchies on 5 and 6 with Sven right behind him. Actually 7 as well. And 8th as well. Frank Hemming on 7. Then Tom Voss on 8. Scott Mitchell on 9. Awesome job by him. Top 10 in that is really good. Really good. Tom Vandervoort, P10 with David Junt right behind him. Then Walborn, probably rather disappointing. Harvey, Zubinski, and Cardas rounding out the top 15. And I would say we have a very spicy grid for our first race here.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some penalties to throw into that as well. So we'll have to see where everyone fizzles out. But yeah, very, very interesting grid, very mixed up, especially sort of from 4th down. Probably not with people who you'd expect to be where they are. Like Cardash, for example, down in 15th, you know, I'd expect him to be a bit further up than that. But yeah, we'll see what the race brings.
Yeah, definitely. You would expect to see him quite high up, but he's been good in the races, so I'm sure he will be able to bounce back. I have some bad news, though. Scott Mitchell, 10 slot penalty. So his very good qualifying will be... Oh, he'll be starting behind... No, he won't. Will he? Jack Nicholls is going to... No, he will start right behind Jack Nicholls if there's no other penalty. So, unfortunate for him, but it's a long race. 22 laps around this track is a long time. So, a lot is possible. Just looking to rule the other penalties. Opportuni has a 10-slot penalty, but he's not racing. Ziubinski, is he racing? He is,
yes, he is.
5-slot penalty as well. Craig Pedersen is also, he's already at the back of the grid. I don't think he set a qualifying time, but he has a 10-slot grid penalty. And I think that is it. Andrzejewski is not racing. So those are the penalties. We have some 1 race bans as well. Petr Grozak, who wasn't the primary here either way, got a 1 race ban, and so does Vicentovic, who, funnily enough, I think collided with each other in the previous race. So they kind of screwed each other over. But yeah, we got a very interesting grid for the people that are unknown to how the series work. So first we have race 1. We'll have 2 races. And race 1 will contain of 22 laps, which is about half the distance of a full Super League race. Not just about half, it's precisely half. and there is a mandatory pit stop in the dry. So you need to use both tire compounds. We have 2 tire compounds here, the softs and the mediums. You need to use both of them. Top 10 needs to start on their qualifying time. Qualifying tire rather, sorry. And the rest has a free choice, which is extra sour for Scott Mitchell, who has to start on the softs now, despite starting 19th. Then we have race 2 after a 5 to 10 minute break, and that will be 15 laps with no mandatory pit stops. So basically a sprint race, which is still quite long. We're going to have a lot of action here today. I expect tires will not be an issue, Ewan. I think the tires will last quite a long time here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, the long straights seem to help that. Obviously, there will be a little bit of punishment through the fast, long corners such as Pouon and Eau Rouge, but yeah, they should have enough to keep it in check. There weren't really many issues with tyre drop-off last week. I know they're different. It's a different series, but we have seen some issues in Formula Challenge, and then you see then the 2 stops in the sprint race in the Supercup at the same round. Yeah, they should have enough, and I don't really expect to see anyone trying the stop in the sprint race.
No, I don't think that's even possible. I think even a lot of people might start on the softs. I haven't tested a Super Cup car around here, but I do expect that the softs will be able to last. But that could also be a thing, because if the softs last, they will be worse towards the end than the mediums. So it could be a strategy difference that we will see there. And obviously, it's always interesting to see whoever starts on mediums. They will probably come out ahead of the guys that need to pit earlier for softs. So it's always interesting races here in Super Cup. We will be gone for about 5 minutes. We're going to take a little break, take some water. We'll be watching the drivers drive around the track in the meantime. We will be back in about 5 minutes, so go nowhere, and we'll be back for race 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Supercup. We are about to jump into the race. Drivers, as usual, they are doing their final race laps, race runs, to see how the car feels on high fuel and what the lap times are. We just jumped into the race now. Sven, the race was the fastest in warm up. It doesn't say much at all, but it's always fun to look at. He was quite a bit faster actually, but he's known to wear his tires a lot. Now I think this race could be beneficial for him because it just doesn't use that much tires. And the guys that are better on tires, like Lee and Buck, may be a tiny bit disadvantaged because of that. But nonetheless, he's still on pole.
Yeah, it was a good lap at the end, wasn't it? Be interesting to see what's going to happen on the first lap, because I feel like if he can get out ahead at the first lap, and then obviously Lexo will have to be on the defensive, and if you're on the defensive, Box will get out in front of the DRS activation zone, and it'll be pretty much gone. So that's going to be the key, I think.
Well, it's difficult to do though. In the first lap, we've seen 2018 Spa, where five drivers. Sorry, I'm talking about Formula One. 5 drivers next to each other, basically, and that's all because of the massive draft that you can get. So Leon might have a big issue if Lexo gets a good start, or someone else. If Quinte jumps Lexo, for example, he will have such a big slipstream. But we are now on the way for the formation lap. It's Leon Bock on pole once again for the however many time in a row. Steven Lexo qualifies second. Great job by him. Quinte third. Currently third in the championship as well. He's currently 18 points behind Leon Bock. Behind Frank Hemming, who's leading the championship. And behind that is 4 points Leon Bock. Then we have Pedro Gomez on a great qualifying, P4. Bobko Hoekstra on his return to Supercup, P5. Sven de Vries on his return, P6. All Dutchies in a row now. Frank Hemming, P7. Tom Vos on 8th. Tom van der Voort on 9th. All Dutchies 5 in a row. Then we have David Jant on his first race for Multiforce after leaving or getting kicked out, I have no idea, of Crossfire. Then Jennis Wolborn, I would say he's pretty disappointed. He's fighting for the title, which seemed unlikely. Well, not for the driver's title, but he's fighting for the constructor's title with Razor GP, which seemed unlikely because they were quite a bit behind. But then they got Leon Buck signed up and everything started kicking off. So curious to see what they can do. They're only about 50 points behind Pescara. Thomas Harvey, P12, Damien Cardos, P13, so the team will say it will be a tough race for them, as his teammate is right behind him, Miko Gauka, P14. Then Dabrowski. Simon Frelich is Mr. Second of Academy. He's scored many second places and eventually won a race, then moved to FC. Solid top 10 performer there, and now trying out Supercup, qualified 16. Jack Nichols, P17. P18 is Matthias Zubinski. 19 is Scott Mitchell with a great qualifying. Said he didn't expect it, but unfortunately got put back 10 positions. So from 9 to 10, he's now 19th. Then Philip Koenig on 20. George Whitehouse on 21st. Actually didn't notice. That is actually rather disappointing because he has been a podium contender basically every race. Menno Klont, also really disappointing. He is fighting for that title with H2O Nemeko. And you don't want to start 22nd. Then Pescara, though, is behind him with Giuseppe Lino. You can't blame him. He's the last-minute replacement of Opportuni. P23, then Matt Webb, P24. Mark Fuller, 25th. Craig Patterson, 26th, but starting from the pit lane. And Ben Willis, rounding out the grid. So, a very stacked lineup here. We have cars out of position. Crossfire seems to have the best papers here with Wopke in 5th. And Steven Lexo in 2nd.
Yeah, Crossfire look good, and their rivals in the championship as well. You know, H2O, Namco, Pescara, both down in the 20-somethings. And we saw last week as well, Eau Rouge and Radion can get messy, especially with so many cars in the field. You do not want to be in the midfield on the first lap.
No, you don't want to really be behind anyone close to Eau Rouge. You need to be really careful because there's so much dirty air and you're still turning. Even though it's full out, you are turning the car and the car doesn't like dirty air. So, good chance of spinning. We have the lights, 2 lights on, 3 lights on, 4 lights on, and 5 lights on, and we are away for the Belgian Grand Prix. Seems like a really good start for Leon Buck and Gomez right out the inside. A great start for Gomez. Ooh, and Lexo breaks, gets on the cross. He's gonna lose a lot of positions. Doesn't go wide, but he loses a lot of positions. So a good position for Crossfire. is gone. But Wopke Hoekstra does gain a place, so does Sven de Vries. Now, let's see what the slipstream can do. Quinte right behind Bok. If he doesn't ruin up or mess up this straight, there you go. He's right behind him. There's a big crash behind. We'll check that out later. But there goes Quinte around the outside. Bok has so much overspeed. Leon Bok is still, he's behind him now. Can he break later? No, he cannot. Quinte, with a brilliant start, moves up to P1.
Yeah, Volborn was involved in that crash, but great move from Quinte, Bok into second. You said before the race that we were going to have a bit of action down into Lake Calm, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, I'm just looking back. What I said, the dirty air, completely caught out so many people. Volborn got caught out by it. It wasn't even the first guy. It was Tom. Is that Tom van der Voort?
Van der Voort's gone. Dabrowski's gone. Kardash got involved as well.
Yeah, they were all. It was literally just dirty air, that which caught them out. And then a lot of people. It was Tom van der Voort and Jennis Volborn who both lost it because of dirty air, and then just people piling up onto them. A big gainer is Menno Klont, who's up to 13th. And Jack Nicholls, who's now 14th. Unfortunate for Scott Mitchell, who got caught up in the pile-up. Matt Webb as well, Damien Cardos, Jennis Volborn. Well, he was the instigator, what's the word? Well, he was the cause
Instigator.
Anyway. That's it, instigator. I think that's all the people with them.
Oh no, Sven, what are you doing, man?
Sven, what happened there?
Yeah, he got into the back of Gomez trying to make a move. He tried to dummy down back to the inside into the bus stop and left it too late. I think Gomez caught him out on the brakes. Sven's tried to come back to the inside. He's tagged the back of Gomez, and Gomez went way wide down to 15th now as Lino makes the move into La Source.
I was just so focused on watching the replay of that incident that I completely missed that. That is a rookie mistake by Sven, and that has cost him nothing except maybe damage. But it's cost Gomez so much, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a penalty coming out, and he's overtaking Wopke Hoekstra now. He's around the outside. I hear more crashing sounds at the back. Maybe some dirty air in Eau Rouge again. Sven actually goes up to P3, which honestly, Gomez is out. Oh, he's been there under the dirty air. Same thing that Volborn did. Same thing that Van der Voort did. He's lost the rear wheel, and it's end of the race for Pedro Gomez as well.
And I wonder how much that has to do with a bit of frustration from what happened at the end of the previous lap as well, because you're not going to take any prisoners into Eau Rouge after a mistake like that puts you into bother. That's a shame after his qualifying result, but yeah, what can you say?
It's a real shame, and this means that all the teams that, talking about Volborn, who's still in contention, but all the teams that are named Pescara, H2 Nemco, or Crossfire now need to start thinking about this Constructors Championship. Every point gained is nice. Oh, crash! Tom Voss and Frank Hemming, they're out. Big crash, massive crash, big pile up. That's a leg incident. Frank Hemming is out as well. What a horrible accident. I'm sure that was a leg incident. That is absolutely awful, and it's Frank Hemming who lagged into Tom Voss. And that has caught out even more people, more innocent people. Ziubinski has lost his front and rear wing. Couldn't avoid it. Who's into the pits? It's Thomas Harvey as well. And what on earth?
Championship leader in trouble, then Hamming. That's bad. And obviously, every mistake that is made in this race will absolutely play against you for race 2 as well. So everything that's happening right now is championship critical.
It is. And who are the biggest gainers? I would say Crossfire and Pescara. Look at Giuseppe Lino. P10, Jack Nicholls. P9. I know how happy he would be with this result. Menno Klont, P8. Where did he come from? Like 68 or something. He has done an amazing job just staying clean. So have Jack Nicholls and Giuseppe Lino. And obviously Ben Willis as well. George Whitehouse, they're fighting. We see him on screen right here. But they are just keeping it clean. And if they keep it up, they're going to score great points.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking back up, Sven de Vries' fastest lap on the last lap. I know it was only lap 2, but he was a good half a second faster than anyone else.
That is very, very interesting. But we need to note that he is likely to absolutely smash his tires, which actually surprises me. He's got so much experience. Surely you know how to manage tires after all these years, but seems like he can't. Don't know what went wrong there, but that honestly surprises me.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking back down the field, I think Frelick tried to make a move on Fuller into Fania, couldn't quite slide up the inside enough, and Fuller managed to hold him off. And like you said, a lot of these teams that have been scrapping for the lesser points now have a massive chance to get into the top 10, and then obviously have a really good race too as well, because then they're out of all of the rubbish by the time we get the reverse grid.
Yeah, Jack Nicholls about to make a move back because Lino overtook him, and now Jack Nicholls with a great move down the inside gets him back. That's the downside of having the slipstream, given away. If you overtake someone through sector 2, you're gonna have, you're gonna gift the slipstream on the next straight, which is a big straight. So Jack Nicholls takes great advantage of that. But the downside is he will give the slipstream and the arrest to Lino now. So maybe he'll be able to catch him back again.
Yeah, Lino didn't really defend it that hard. I think he knew that he'd have all of that benefit back through Eau Rouge Radion down the Kemmel Straight. So that'll be interesting. Bok is right on the back of Quintai up front. That's going to get very spicy very soon.
It is, yeah. Lino doesn't have enough top speed to make that move. George Whitehouse behind on the inside of Ben Willis, and he makes that move stick. Ooh, Ben Willis goes a bit wide there, but all good there. Frelick has just DNF'd. What happened? He did the same thing. Frelick out. Everyone is just underestimating the dirty air in Eau Rouge. We saw Formula Challenge last week. Some people got cut out, but the dirty air in Formula Challenge is nothing compared to the dirty air in Supercup.
No, this is the thing. We were talking about it last week ahead of the race, me and David Carter, and only one I think it was Amari Watson right at the end of race 2. It was the only one who got caught out by it. So yeah, we thought maybe, it wasn't that much of an issue this season. Yeah, it clearly is, because so many people are being caught out by that.
It really has been, yeah. Let's hope that the other drivers manage to keep clean. There's still a lot of fighting going on for the top 4 positions. After that, there's a 1.4 second gap, and behind that, there's a 2.2 second gap. So, it's calmed down a bit. A lot of unexpected names right up in the top 10. Obviously, we have Philip Koenig, who has finished in the top 10, but not that often. Ooh, we see a mistake from Jack Nicholls, actually. I think he just spun, but half spin, so didn't lose too much. Actually, just baked himself, lost a position. But that's also another name, obviously, surprising in the top 10. Giuseppe Lino, Menno Klont. We are not too unsurprised to see him in the top 10, but looking at his shocking quali, he will be extremely happy with this, especially if he can get near a reverse grid pole.
Yeah, it just goes to show how keeping out of trouble and keeping your nose clean really does profit you, especially right at the start of the first race, like we just said.
There's more trouble. Mark Fuller has done the same thing again. Well, not again, but like other drivers. And it's just a recurring theme. It is. You've seen so many people crash out. I'm sure you've seen people just stand there without a wheel at the side of a bush. Think to yourself, just take it easy.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a mental error now. Anyone after seeing that many people go out is a mental error.
It really is, yeah. And I think, hopefully the front runners, I think Liam Bok should have experience enough. Sven, Wopke, they've done this for so long. I don't want to jinx it, but I can't see them being caught out. But it has happened to a lot of experienced drivers. Tom Vandervoort, I don't know how he's been sim racing since I was still in my mom's womb, basically. It's he's so experienced. He still got caught out, so not an experience thing, but it's very unfortunate to see. And it means that the people who did get caught out, Walborn, for example, he did get caught out, but he's still up for points. He's only 17th now. He's still 40 seconds away from points. But with people crashing out every single lap, it seems nothing is impossible.
No, absolutely. And if it was towards the end of the race, you've been stuck behind the same car all the way through, and you're trying to get a little bit of an advantage to get further up alongside into the chicane, I'd understand then there's a bit of frustration eking in. But when you're so early in the race, it does seem weird. You need to take it easy and make sure you get to the finish, because you can't score if you don't finish.
Yep. To finish first, you first have to finish. I don't know who said that. I hear more cursing sounds. Don't be in Eau Rouge, please. I don't think it is, actually. Is it? Oh, it's in a different corner. It's Matt Webb. Matt Webb is out. And then, Quintai hits the tire. I hope that hasn't damaged the car. But we just saw on the screen there was Medweb on the side. He has just been in on his own. First time we see a crash that's not in Eau Rouge. But that's the end of the race for him. And Quinte has hit that tire. I'm curious if that gave him suspension damage, because that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, it's a weird place to see a car off the circuit. I can only imagine he's dropped it getting on the power early out of Rivage. Yeah, really weird one. And like you said, it'd be interesting to see if Quintai has picked up any damage from that. It doesn't look like he has so far, because he took plenty of speed through Pouan and Fania.
Yeah, so I was just looking back at the crash of Medweb. It was just hitting the AstroTurf a tiny bit too much, like 1 centimeter too much, and then went on the power and dropped it. Lucky for him, it's not being Sancho's best season. He was a replacement for Dan. I'm not sure if it's a one-off or permanently, but you know, he had some look on points, and unfortunately DNF'd. We have 8 DNFs so far, and all are under the description of accident.
So, we are looking then, lap 7. The lap times are starting to calm down a little bit. We're getting a few, best sectors with the DRS and what have you. But lap times are starting to calm down a bit. Now we're getting into tyre saving mode. Who can make the strategy work? Because they're stuck behind each other. There's nobody really making a move, as Bok does have a little look, but not close enough. It would be interesting to see, are people just waiting now to get the strategy, the pit stops out the way, and go for it at the end of the race?
Did I just spot another DNF? And I did. I'm sorry. I didn't really interrupt you, but sorry for just chasing something. I'll come back right at that. But first, Cardas has just DNF'd. Yeah, we saw it on the screen. He's dropped it on the AstroTurf as well. Lost a wheel, and end of the race for him. So unfortunate for one of the Gallery 82s.
And Jant's off as well.
Jant just crashed off. His car is off. That's end of the race. Press escape. You are in such a dangerous position. Thank you very much. Lino almost hits him. Another accident. There's so many crashes.
Lino did really well not to hit him, actually.
Yeah, he went on the right side of him. He didn't expect him, and that is a great avoiding maneuver. But so many crashes. People are rusty, it seems like. Either way, to get back onto your question, it does seem like Bok has saved his tires up more. I'm not sure if it will matter too much. It definitely will matter a tiny bit, though, because obviously he seems to have more pace now than Quinte, who indeed starts to drop off. Well, Bok's time just starts to get a bit faster and faster. This time, obviously he's limited to Quinte's times now, but he is really on his tail. Sven de Vries dropping a bit further back, losing a few tenths per lap. So is Wopke, and so is Steven, who's just done a 50. Steven Axel seems to be a bit shaky on the rear. But with all this mess happening, Philip Koenig in a brilliant P6. He has done absolutely fantastic to avoid all of the mess. As actually Bok going for the lead here, but Quinte says no, I won't let you by, and he keeps the position. Bok doesn't seem to have as much top speed as Quinte does. He has issues. Ooh, does the same thing that Cardas just did, but wisely enough, doesn't step on the throttle. But yeah, he doesn't seem to have too much top speed to be able to really make the move stick.
No, and that's exactly why I'm thinking, is this going to be a victory on pit road? And if it is a victory on pit road, does Bok have the straight line speed to keep Quinte behind?
Yes, that's going to be the question. I think pit stops may come soon. I think in about 3 laps time. I think it would make sense to do 10 laps on the softs and 12 on the mediums. But obviously the tires will last more, so an overcut could be strong. An extreme undercut could be even strong. So I don't even know what to expect out of the pit stops. We could see them come in this lap, and I would not be surprised, because I think there's a lot of strategy possibilities here. Though ultimately I think the undercut will be the strongest.
You can see from the way that they're both driving, Bok obviously has a lot more confidence with the front end of the car. He's got a lot tighter lines. He's using less of the road than Quinte is. But obviously Quinte's got so much straight line speed. So it's kind of a neither here or there situation for them.
Yes, and we can't blame Bok. He's probably seen all those people crash out in Eau Rouge. I'm sure he's not taking all the risk in the world, as I'm going on board now with him to check his throttle input around there. Is he going full throttle? He is not. He's lifting off quite a bit, and that's very wise. but he's now quite close, and he may go for this move here, opening the DRS. Surely he's going to go for the move, as surely Quinte is going to defend the inside because he's not even winning that much time. Look, he's going to go around the outside. Can he break later? Not really, so it's not a move. Again, he's got too much top speed, Quinte, really, for Buck to do anything. But it allows Buck to probably save his tires a bit more, as we have our first scheduled pit stop of the race. It's Ben Willis in P13 now going on to the mediums.
Okay, so that was interesting. That was almost a little wave to Quintai, wasn't it? Hello, I'm here. I am going to push you all the way. It was never looking like a move that he was going to make. So that's a bit of gamesmanship, maybe. Looking behind, Hoekstra's dropped off the back of De Vries a little bit. And yeah, they're starting to fan out a bit. So really, Bock and Quintai is the closest battle on the track.
It really is, and it is just happens to be for the lead. On the sector point, it was 62 thousandths. Now it's 6 tenths. And Quinte, you know, they have I think historically always have had a lot of top speed. Also in qualifying, they have gone for the slipstream all the time, and I'm not too sure if Buck also did that. So, yeah, they've always been, you know, high on top speed, and it has benefited them a lot this race because Buck seems to have more pure pace, but just can't get past.
Yeah, I remember in Canada, Quintai managed to keep quite a lot of people behind him. Is Wopke in the pits?
Wopke pits. Well, won't be a question of what he pits to. He will pit on the mediums, I hope, unless he misclicked on the different tire. But this could be good. He was right behind Sven De Vries, and now he could go for the undercut. Will he come out in clean air? I'm calculating he might, actually. Jack Nicholls decides to do the same, goes to the pits just before Whitehouse would get past him. Let's see where Wopke comes out. I think he might just get clean air, and he just gets behind George Whitehouse, but it's quite a big gap. It's like 2 seconds of a gap. So he will be able to push for 1 or 2 laps without being disturbed too much. And then let's see what Sven does, because obviously Sven will now be pushing to hopefully get, you know, in front of Wopke again after the pit stop. But that is even a thing. Even if you get in front, the car behind, in this case Wopke, he still gets the DRS and slipstream and the run. So it's hard to keep someone behind who does an undercut.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very interesting to see what Wopke can do now. Did you see how hard Sven De Vries is pushing? He is almost sideways through every single corner. It's fantastic to watch, but he has to, because, you know, if he does fall behind, like you said, Hoekstra is going to be pulled along by Whitehouse anyway, so he's not going to be able to get back through.
Yep. Stay out of the curbs. If you're really pushing, the astroturf is not your best friend. It's possible, but if you put on the throttle too much, could end up like 10 other drivers have this year. Well, not this year, sorry, this race. He's pushing hard, Sven, but he's not fast. He is quite a bit slower in Sector 2 than the other laps. I'm almost 100% sure he will pit this lap. He's pushing the last inch of his tires that's left of it. Leon Bach and Quinte, they're both going into the pits. That is very interesting. So, depends on who has the best pit stop.
Sven's still going.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting. So we have the 2 leaders in. Sven is now currently leading. Steven Lexo is in. I think what they should have this. He has to wait maybe for his team for the crossfire there. Can he? No, it's a long pit stop, actually. Who can Buck out in front? No, he cannot. So, seemed like a long pit stop, but it ended up well. Wopke will not be able to undercut either of them. But Sven, his last lap was a 50.7. Now, if I compare that to Wopke, who obviously had a very bad first sector because of the pit stop, I'm just calculating here that he was, oh my god, Wopke was about 8 tenths quicker in the last 2 sectors. So I think it could be very close, and I think Wopke will be able to undercut Sven, but then Sven will have the newer tires.
Will the newer tyres matter? With the straight line speed is the question, isn't it? Because we've seen that Bock looks to have a bit more grip than the Pescara ahead of him, but he can't get through because of straight line speed. So this is why it's a very, very intriguing race, strategy-wise. Bock still right behind Quintai. Quintai has got his teammate ahead, Lino, who's yet to stop. So how much of a challenge is he going to pose these 2 guys when they get onto the back of him?
It's a very interesting thing indeed. We have Sven leading the race provisionally. I think he should be P3 or P4, which is what I'm interested to see. Can he come out in front of Wopke? I would be sincerely surprised. His sector times are atrocious, to say the least. I'm not sure why he stayed out, but surely he will come into the pits now. And I think he would have lost the position to Wopke. The gap is 21.5 seconds. I have no idea what the pit delta is. But either way, I think it will be close.
Yeah, definitely. I think Fopke might just about have it. They were pretty close before the pit stops. So, yeah, look how close that was as well. Kintai all over the place trying to defend from Bok. Bok is so close to the back of Kintai. It's probably the closest he's been. But Kintai is going to get pulled along by his teammate.
Yep, there's a lot of fights going on, but I would like to focus on Sven. He's coming out of pits now. Ooh, that could be quite close. He presses the pit limit button now. Wopke coming across turn 1. Wopke will come ahead, but no, I think he got it. Sven will get the arrest, but he's quite far, so Wopke undercuts Sven de Vries, which honestly wasn't too unexpected.
No, and to be honest, I'm a little bit surprised that Bok didn't try it up ahead as well. I'm surprised that he waited until Kintai was coming in as well. But then, having said that, you don't want to put yourself at a disadvantage and get yourself into traffic. So you can see both sides of the coin. Good work from Wopke to put the laps in after his pit stop.
For sure. And interestingly enough, look who's in second now. Overtaking his teammate on the straight. Lost little time to no time. Maybe even gained time with the DRS and slipstream. But Lino is now blocking Leon Bok. And I'm sure he won't move over as easily for Bok as he did for his teammate. So this is Pescara at his greatest. And look, Bok's running wide. He's losing so much time. This is tactical play. Everything obviously allowed. And this is great to see that, well, Pescara really utilizing their second driver amazingly.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it's perfectly legal. He's not all over the place defending. I imagine Bok will get through after Blanchemont into the bus stop, but this is really, really good team play from the Pescara. Look how wide Bok's going. He's obviously very frustrated.
Yep, and it is very frustrating when you're driving, and I think he will go for a move. The question is, will Lino defend the inside, make it even harder? Actually, I don't think he will get through here. Lino defends the inside. Oh, Bok brakes very late. That's a good move if he can do it. Lino, very good driving. Good move by Bok and good awareness by Lino. So he did lose about 1.5 to 2 seconds. Let's say 1.7 because that's literally how much it is. But Philip Koenig in the pits. Interesting to say, I forgot to say because there was so much going on that lap, that he was leading the race, which obviously he will make a picture of and put it on his fridge. And rightly so. Great to see that. He's done an amazing race, coming out back in P8. And he will gain some more places as George Whitehouse still has to pits, and so does Giuseppe Lino. Lino may actually get back at Leon Bok here. He's got so much speed. He's got the Pescara set up with solo wings. He's going to go for a move here around the outside. That will be amazing for him. Lino, they hit each other. They're wheel banging. Lino still has the outside line now. Can he go for it? Oh, this is such great racing. And Lino gets back at Leon Bok, defends the inside. This is great racing, and I'm sure Leon Bok is going to be absolutely furious with this. But it's great to see.
Yeah, it's really good work from Lino as well, because he's on old mediums compared to Bok's new mediums. And it's all well and good saying that, yeah, he's got more straight line speed, but the move was made around the corners. It wasn't made down the straight. So that's really, really good, tough racing. Hanging it on the outside into Les Combes and then through Malmedy as well. Really, really impressive stuff from the stand in the Pescara.
Amazing job. And now let's see if the same move as last lap will happen. In the meantime, look at Wopke Hoekstra is right behind Leon Bok. I'm not sure if Wopke has a lot of top speed either. I think he's on about the same as Leon Bok. But I think Sven has quite a bit. So the big profiter with newer tires could be Sven de Vries here. Let's see what happens with Leon Bok and Giuseppe Lino. Dirty Air is also annoying in this corner. Lino defends the inside. Can Bok do the same? I don't think he can. He's waiting. Ooh, Wopke. Ooh, almost hitting each other. And Lino goes into the pit. So now Bok could be in a lot of trouble with Wopke right behind him and Sven right behind him. I'm pretty sure that both the Dashis will really appreciate him. Thank you very much. And now they need to get that DRS and slipstream. Actually, Bok has actually got quite a bit of a gap. I think Wopke could be in a bit of trouble here. Sven de Vries is right on his tail.
Yeah, De Vries was pushing so hard as well. It looked like he went a little bit wide into Blanchemont. He's right up behind Wopke, like you said, and this should be a move for him. He's got so much more speed down the camel straight. He'll pull out to the left-hand side, try to go around the outside. Bok's going defensive as well. He's a sit and duck.
I think he gives
and De Vries makes it.
Ooh, I think they've tried to give a bit of draft to Wopke. Maybe thought it was his teammate because obviously the liveries are quite similar. But yeah, Sven makes the move on Wopke. They're good friends. There would be no harm there. They know each other years and years and years, so good fighting between them. But Wopke ends up losing the place eventually after his undercut, and now it's going to be interesting to see, can Sven get back on Leonbach. In the meantime, the job that Lino did has helped Quinte so much. 4 seconds is the gap. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, to be fair as well to Lino, he was very sportsmanlike. He made sure he pulled over to the inside for the final corner as not to chop across the faster cars when he was coming into the pit. So good driving all round.
Yeah, the whole battle was amazing from both Bach, even with his frustrations, which I'm sure he's feeling. Left plenty of space, so did Lino. Tiny bit of wheel banging, which is what you love to see in racing. So
yeah, it was sensible, wasn't it? It was sensible. It was sensible. It was hard. It was tough, but it was fair.
Exactly, and this has given Alessandro Quinte the best papers here to take over the lead of the championship, as the original leader with 4 points ahead of Quinte is now out of. Sorry, not ahead of Quinte. Actually, no, hold up. Liam Bach will take over the championship lead, but Quinte is not too far behind, especially with this win. He's gonna take, if he takes the win, obviously, he's gonna put a lot of points back into his pocket and close the gap to Frank Hemming and Liam Bach. Obviously, Frank Hemming having DNF'd in one of the first laps. I think it was lap 1? It was lap 2, actually. So yeah, we have George Whitehouse pitting for a new set of softs. That's quite late, but 8 laps to go. Allows Jack Nicholls back to 9th and Lino to P8, who has actually undercut Jack Nicholls. And Menacott in P7. They're all going to be very happy people, I'm sure. They have a big gap behind. Top 10 is basically confirmed for all those drivers.
Absolutely, and we're getting to the stage now where if you finish on the lead lap, you'll pretty much get a point. If Quinte doesn't finish, I'm blaming you.
Sorry. I like to curse people.
Yeah, no, but yeah, he looks as if he's in a bit of a commanding situation. Bach has taken a little bit of time out of him on the last lap. So yeah, I expect Bach to close back up, but I think it's too much to do with not enough time.
So we have Ziobinski making a move on Janis Wolborn. I think it was Wolborn maybe making a move on Ziobinski.
I think Wolborn came into the pit lane. So
Yeah. But I think before that, Wolborn may have overtaken Ziobinski, or Ziobinski may have gone for a move, and then Wolborn eventually went into the pits. So Wolborn now has to do a lot of, either has to hope somebody DNFs or crashes or spins in front of him, but he will have about a 20-second gap to the first point. So a very fast driver, but I think 20 seconds is a bit optimistic. At the front, 49.7 for Leon Bach and 50.0 for Quinte. So 3 tenths per lap is not going to be enough, and Bach is really pushing, but it seems like Sven doesn't have the pace to match Leon Bach at the moment.
no, it didn't, and it looked like he would have when he made the move on Vopka. So a bit surprising there. It will mean that Vopka will have a chance to come back at them if Bach does leave Sven without the DRS in the closing stages.
Yeah, we have Leon Bach breaking himself. The tires won't like that, and actually lost a lot of time there to Sven de Vries. Looking down a bit further behind, saw some positions moving. It's Ben Willis and Thomas Harvey have a nice little bit of a P13. Ben Willis, I'm sure, will be happy with every single point he will get. He's currently on a grand total of 11, which is respectable, but he will get 2 more if he finishes P14 and 3 more if he finishes P13. So he will want every one of those points. But I think he's just been overtaken by Harvey and around the outside. Yes, around the outside of bus stop. So yeah, it's a bit too far behind now. Just make sure you don't hit the dirty air and don't spin out, and you should be fine. But yeah, this position gone to Thomas Harvey and P13. It's a bit more spread out now. The closest find is for P2, and even that one doesn't seem to be that close. It's about 8 tenths to each car.
Yeah, interesting. Bach still closing in, but it's too slow to make any difference for the lead. Harvey was on softs and Willis was on mediums. But like I said, Willis has got a nice gap to Zabinski behind.
Yes, yeah. So after 15 laps of chaos, we can now breathe a bit and just check out what's happening casually without having a blood pressure of whatever value is high. for blood pressure. Ooh, Bobka really pushing himself, getting wiggly on the rear, but he's fine. Basically, every finisher has got a point. Only Scott Mitchell, who got heavily caught out in the lap 1 incidents, and so did Janus Walborn. They don't have points. They lost front and rear wing. Scott Mitchell even lost a wheel. To be fair, props to him. It would be very infuriating to through no fault of your own, miss a wheel in lap 1. But he's brought it back to the pits, and he's still going strong. So that's my respect to him.
Yeah, and of course, with grid positions to be determined for race 2, every time someone ahead of you drops out, you go up a position on the grid. So it really does pay dividends to stay in the race as long as you can. Even if you've got a bit of damage, try and nurse it to the end of the race, because you never know where you're going to end up at the end.
Really is. And yeah, like he will start P17 if everything. Well, at worst, he will start P17. He can't go lower because the next lowest is 9 laps behind. Crashed out with suspension damage, David Jun. So 17 is the least he will start, and every position. You're just so angry, you just don't think properly. But yeah, he's still going strong. So is Walborn, trying to salvage whatever is possible in that P16. And he's so close to a point, but yet so far, because it's 33 seconds, but only one position.
Yeah, and Pescara, the big winners, you'd think, 2 drivers in the top 10 at the moment. When it looked like they were in trouble, Lino starting in 23rd or 24th. Clont was down there as well. It looked like Razor and Crossfire would have a really good chance of closing in. Obviously, Crossfire still have 2 in the top 5, but the fact that Lino's managed to get to 8th and Quintai's taking the lead, damage limitation is pretty strong there for Pescara.
It really is, and Bach is under pressure from Sven de Vries, who really seems to have found some new pace. Wopke has been dropped by 1.6 seconds. And he's really under pressure, Leon Bach from Sven de Vries. So curious to see what he can do. Obviously, he's got quite a bit more top speed than Bach, but he needs to get very close in turn 1 and then make sure that he gets a good run through Eau Rouge. Don't crash it out. That would be absolutely devastating. P3 is good enough, but obviously he would like to get an attempt. We currently have Giuseppe Lino right behind Menocont, which I think our closest battle on track. Because Lino has good new tires. Well, I think Menno's tires are a bit older. Pitted lap 12, Menno, and Lino pitted lap 14, so that's 2 laps difference. For the softs, that could be quite a big. Actually, it's only 1 lap difference, but he seems to have more pace either way. Obviously, Menocont and Pescara, probably a lot of respect between the two. So curious to see how that will be, especially with Lino. With the great fight with Bach, he's really shown that he's got good race pace. It's just unfortunate that his quali was pretty awful, but you can't blame him. He's come in last minute, I think. So he's done a great job.
No, I've been so impressed with him. He settled himself in. He stayed out of trouble on lap 1. He settled into the race. I think his best lap is only a few tenths off Quintai, who's been in the championship all season. Can't really ask for much more. He's come through the field, kept a really solid head in some really difficult situations. The move he made on Bach on old tyres before he made his stop was absolutely fantastic. And now he's fighting for 7th. Reverse grid still to come. This is superb from Giuseppe Lino.
Yeah, with some luck, he can start even pole or P2. That will be amazing. All in the contention are Philip Koenig, who definitely, if he finishes P6, will have a great starting position. How it works, if you're unaware, P6 to P10 will be reversed. It will be a random number between 6 and 10. As Lino now makes the move, Menoclon defends the inside. I will continue my story shortly. Lino does break very late and makes the move. That's a brilliant move at the same place he did it with Bach. So that's Lino into 7th. I'm sure he will disappear into the distance. Great move. So
he likes that move, doesn't he? He likes that move around the outside into Lake Com.
He does, but it was for the first time with new tires. Either way, so a random number between 6 and 10 will be chosen by the race director, Chris Williamson, and then that number, for example, if it's 9, then P9 will be reversed up until P9. So it would be Quinte on P9, Leon Buck on 8th, and then Jack Nicholls on pole. That's how it works. It's completely random, so that you don't have any strategies. Oh, I'm 8th now, but reverse grid is 7th, so or 9th, and then I will just drop a position. We don't want any of those tricks, and that's why the league has decided to implement this rule, which I think is a good thing. But it can be annoying and can be very satisfying if you're called Matteo Keersmakers and get pole every single race. But he's not here anymore, and Super League Live doesn't have reverse grid, so maybe that luck is over.
I was just about to say, it's the first time this season pretty much that we're not going to have a crossfire on pole for race 2 at the moment, because they're both in the top 5. So a bit disappointed. I was looking forward to making plenty of jokes about that, but
well, you can still do them. Just pretend like they are.
Yeah. I'll see what happens. Still got 2 laps left, haven't we? So
we do, yeah. Who knows? Maybe one of the crossfires drops down. I don't wish it upon them. It could happen. Either way, Jack Nicholls being passed for P9 now by George Whitehouse, and honestly, let it happen. He has let it happen. Don't crash out here in Eau Rouge, please, because you've done P10. This is an amazing result. He's so sideways. Be careful. Well, he's going for the position. I respect his fighting spirit, and he's gonna go around the inside. I just don't want to see you crash. Your P10, it's an amazing place for you. Well, your P9 now. He's made the move happen back on George Whitehouse. But realistically, Whitehouse has better tires, and he will just go past you in one of the next lap. But he's got a bit of leeway. Even if he spins or something, he's got 40 seconds of a gap. It's a great fight to see. Just be careful in Eau Rouge, please. That's what I beg of you.
that was fantastic. It was so harem scarum through Eau Rouge, wasn't it? But good move in the end. Hopefully we'll calm it down a little bit, because like you said, 10th is fantastic, and it puts him in with a chance for a reverse grid pole.
It does, and honestly, Walborn has just done his teammate a big favor, but I'm not sure if this is within the rules. He let Leon Buck by, and then, well, this won't be penalized, I don't think, but that was not the wisest of moves. He really blocked Sven de Vries a bit there, and honestly, Quinte is dropping a lot. There's, how many laps to go? Is that 2 or 3? Just checking. There is 2 laps to go. So Leon Buck has brought the gap down to 1.2 seconds. The last lap, 50.0 for Leon Buck. Quinte 8/10 slower. So he needs to up the pace, otherwise it could even be close. Though I think he will have the edge with the top speed. And Sven de Vries might try and make a move down the inside of Leon Buck anytime soon, because he's quite close. Not close enough this lap, but could happen.
Now, I don't want to be, I don't want to annoy anyone, but we didn't see it on screen. But is it a coincidence that Volborn was a back marker and Quinte lost 8/10 on that lap?
Oh, that is a good shout. We'll have to see what he does this lap, because he's in clean air. In the meantime, as we saw on screen, Jack Nicholls has been passed by Whitehouse. I'm curious to see if we can get him back once again. That will be hilarious if he can. He's getting the slipstream on the very right side. Mikko Gelka also close to Pedersen, and I think he's too far away. Yes, he is, and he gets passed by Whitehouse. That's no shame. P10 is an amazing result for him. And Whitehouse also a great comeback drive. So did Manuel Clant. So did Giuseppe Polino. So did Philip Koenig. Honestly, if you kept it clean in this race, you were guaranteed a good result. And Mikko Gelka really close. Oh, it would be a great move, and they almost hit each other. That was really close, but that, you know, it would have been a great move if he made it stick, but that was really close to connecting to the rear tire of Craig Pedersen. Yeah,
and I think those two got into each other at La Source on the first lap as well. They dropped right back down to the tail end of the field. Look how sideways Sven de Vries was through the
That's
bus
his driving
stop.
style.
But yeah, no, Galka and Patterson got into each other at La Source on the first lap, and they dropped down. That meant that they missed the carnage into Eau Rouge, but they've done well to get back up to 11th and 12th.
They really have. So last lap is on the way. 50.5 was the last lap for Quinte, which, while not very fast, it's still 4th and slower than Bach. It is still 4th as fast than he did last lap, so it could have been the back marker. Actually, I'm just going to check, because it's a very good point you made, and I'm very curious if it was that indeed. So I will let you know about that. But yeah, 1 lap to go, and the gap is 6/10. I think it's just a tiny bit too much. And actually, you were very right. I just checked the replay back. Walborn kept in front of Quinte for a bit too long, I would say. So you are very right.
It just seemed too coincidental to not be. Do you know what I mean? Because now it's only a 3/10 gap on the last lap, so that's more like what it was before anyway.
True. The smoke coming from the tires of Van der Vries. Lost chance for Leon Bach, but he's not got the top speed, so I don't think it will happen. We're about to enter the final sector of this race, and it has been an extremely entertaining race, a very worthy comeback of Supercup and of GPVWC. Well, we got FC last race. I think this is like a part 2 of the comeback. Leon Bach is quite close, I'd say. With any other setup than Box, he would have a chance of getting this position here with a late move. I guess he still has a chance. It's quite far, though. He has to brake extremely late, and he thinks better of it. He's smarter than that. So it will be Quinte. Ooh, Sven almost spins out, but he keeps it straight. Quinte wins once again, and he's done a great job holding off Leon Bach. Great teamwork with Pescara, teammate Giuseppe Polino, who drove a brilliant race of his own, and he wins race 1 here in Belgium. Leon Bach second, Sven de Vries, brilliant drive third, Wopke Hoekstra and Steven Lexo both Crossfire scoring very important points for their team Crossfire. Philip Koenig with a P6. I think he has got either a P5 or a P6 before. I can't remember.
Silverstone, I think. Silverstone.
He did an amazing job there as well, and he's done it again. So he's really showing great improvement, really showing great consistency, and honestly only finished 10 seconds behind the win. So he did a great job either way, even if he got a bit lucky with all the incidents. Giuseppe Polino, no words needed for his drive. Absolutely phenomenal. Menno Klant kept it clean. Great drive by him, P8. George Whitehouse, same thing. Jack Nichols will be absolutely delighted with the P10 as he almost spins coming out of the first turn. Craig Pedersen, P11. Good comeback drive for him as well. Thomas Harvey, 12. So surely something happened to him, but I don't know what exactly. You got involved with one of the Eau Rouge incidents on lap 2, I think. So he had some suspension damage. Mikko Galka, P13. Ben Willis, 14. 2 points for him. Surely going to be very happy with that. Ziobinski scoring the final point. Was also missing wings left and right in lap 1, I think. So chaotic race, but a very, very, very fun race. What do you think, Ewan?
Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It looked a bit like we weren't going to have anyone finishing after the first 2 laps, and I was a little bit worried, but they all seemed to calm it down a little bit. Some really good racing, like we said, Lino making 2 really good moves into Les Combes. And fantastic. Just checked, by the way, Philip Koenig got a 3rd at Silverstone. So
Third?
more, yeah, 3rd in race 2. So more good form from Philip Koenig.
Wow. I honestly think he got like, do you have the page open? I think he got like 5th or 6th at Hungary in race 1, but I can't remember properly if that is.
I will have a check.
Thank you very much. So in the meantime, we have P6 Philip Koenig will definitely get either a top 5 starting position, but the other people with a chance for a reverse grid pole will be Giuseppe Polino, Menno Klont, George Whitehouse, and Jack Nichols. Now, I would love for Jack Nichols to get it, or for Menno Klont obviously to get it. But if Giuseppe Polino gets it, it will be great for Pescara. He can really help Quinte push up the field, because obviously Quinte will have Bach, Sven, and Wopke in front of him. And honestly, his pace didn't seem like the best, but Lino can play a crucial role in race 2 if he does happen to be either. Well, if the reverse grid number is anything but 6, you'll have a great role to play there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, he did actually have some good pace towards the end of that. It's almost like he had settled himself into the race. So it'll be interesting to see when everyone's on the same tyres at the start of this next race, how fast Lino will be wherever he starts. Because I do feel like he could really, really put a good performance in and either help his teammate or help himself and get a decent result. So yeah, that will be an interesting one to see. To be honest, a lot of people surprised me there. Koenig, like you said, he was only 10 seconds off the lead, so it's hard to even say that he profited from people's misfortune because he was still up there. It wasn't like he was 5th or 6th, but a minute behind. He was 10 seconds behind. So really strong top 10, I think, for the reverse grid.
Really is. So we will be back shortly. We're going to just take a little break. Our voices are absolutely smashed after that race 1, but we have another race to go, so don't go anywhere. We'll get you views of the car as soon as possible as they enter warm-up again. Race 2 will be 15 laps, and in no time we'll be back with you. Welcome back, everyone. We're about to start race 2 here in Spa. And the reverse grid number is known. It's not a crossfire, surprisingly, because that was literally impossible for once. But it's George Whitehouse who finished 9th. So that overtake on Jack Nicholls ended up being crucial. And he's starting from pole position here. Let me see who's second. Should be Menno Klont is 2, and then Lino in 3rd. So, as we said previously, I think Lino has the possibility to play a huge role for Pescara. Score some great points, first of all, but also help Quinte up the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said just before the break, he had some decent pace towards the end. So, if he can get out front, maybe hold a few people up. We saw how great his racecraft was in that battle with Leon Bock. So, yeah, good chance for Pescara to earn even more points in race 2.
Yep. And talking about the Drivers' Championship, Frank Hemming obviously will lose the lead, and he is absolutely, he will have a hard time, an absolute hard time in race 2, because he's going to start from, let me check, somewhere in the 20 positions, start from P24, and obviously because of that leg incident, apparently someone leaving caused the leg and ended up ruining his race, but also the race of his team boss. Funnily enough, Tom Voss got caught up in that, was doing great up until that point, ended up with 0 points, and is also starting from P23. So he will have a tough time. Was leading the championship by 4 points from Bock. Obviously, Bock got P2, meaning that he got 20 points and is now leading the championship. Quinte got 25 points, meaning he will have passed Frank Hemming by 7 points and will be in a way better position to score a lot of points in race 2 as well. So, one race you're leading the championship, then you come to your kinda home race, which a lot of Dutchies will see. They will see this as a home race, even though it really isn't, because it's Belgium. At least I do. I don't know about the others. But yeah, coming into a race, you're first, and then suddenly you are third after just one of the 2 races, and you're starting from 24th.
Yeah, exactly. And it's only going to get worse as well. So, see what he can do. Let's see if he can get back and get a few points. Every point will help. There's still plenty of time left in the season as well for others to have poor races. And this is what we were saying earlier. Especially with this sort of track like Spa. It's old, it's narrow, it's fast. There's plenty of danger around it, and you've got to keep a cool head on and make sure that your mental game is strong.
For sure, yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see what the fast guys, Quinte, Box, Van, Bob can all do in this reverse grid as we get on the way for the formation lap.
Shall we have the grid, Liam?
Yes, we should.
Yeah, okay. So George Whitehouse drawn onto reverse grid pole for Cliffhanger alongside Menno Klont. Giuseppe Lino in 3rd with Philip Koenig after his great race in 4th. Lexo and Hoekstra row 3. Then Sven de Vries, Leon Bock, and race 1 winner Alessandro Quintai. Jack Nicholls finish in the top 10 for Rowan. Craig Patterson had a good recovery up to 11th. Then Thomas Harvey in 12th. Galka, Willis, Zibinski finished in the points in race 1. Janis Volborn had a disappointing race 1. He and Razor in 16th with Scott Mitchell, who was the last of the finishers. And then David Junt, Demin Cardas, and Matt Webb in the top 20. Mark Fuller had issues, Frelich had issues, Tom Voss had issues. Hamming, previous championship leader, as we said, starting in 24th. Pedro Gomez looked so fast in qualifying, then got taken out by Sven de Vries and then crashed at Eau Rouge. Matthias Dabrowski, he never got past lap 1, neither did Tom van der Voort, and Ivan Leonov completes the 28 drivers.
There we go. So we have one more driver, actually, than what we started with. Leonov has joined the grid for race 2. Starting very last, but we've seen that starting last doesn't matter, especially in the race we just had, because a lot of people went from 20-something to top 10, so anything's possible here.
It looks like David Junt's in the pit lane as well.
So he's starting from the pits. He knows, all right, he's a seasoned veteran. He knows, okay, big chance that it's going to be a big chaos moment again in Eau Rouge, because honestly, if you can decide to be careful, but if someone else doesn't and bounces back on the track, you know, it can be a massive, massive incident, as we've seen in very sad moments in the past in real life as well. It's just the nature of the corner. If you crash into the right side barrier of a Rouge, which you naturally will if you overcorrect after spinning out of dirty air, then it's going to be massive chaos. You're just going to be in the middle of the track. You don't have time to press escape because you're not stationary. So it will be chaos if one person decides to be, you know, not very careful.
Yeah, starting in the pit lane though doesn't work if people come together on the exit of La Source and come flying across the front of your car pit
True.
exit. So
But I think that chance is a bit less than the Eau Rouge chaos, which I honestly already see in my eyes happening.
yeah.
So all cars have now line up the grid. David Johns in the pit lane. Jack Nichols has disconnected again. That happened in Hockenheim as well. That's absolutely crushing. Anyway, the lights are on, 5 lights on, and we are away. It's a really good start, I think, for Menno Clant. Oh, bad start for George Whitehouse. Menno Clant is taking the lead immediately. Giuseppe Lino around the outside as well. Oh, there's 3 wide there, and the outside is also Philip Koenig. Whitehouse has kept the position on Lino. Steven Lexo has got a good start, also passing Philip Koenig, who got a bit pushed wide, and Quinte still in 8th as we see him on the screen. Now it's going to be a big slipstream fast. So far, there goes the first guy in a Rouge. We'll see about it later. It was very expected, but everyone's slipstreaming, and I think Sven de Vries is going to go make a move. It's a very late move on Philip Koenig around the outside. Breaks very late and gets the move done. So does Rob Koekstra, but he doesn't go for it. Now he has a lot of space to go for it, though, around the outside of Philip Koenig. He was very careful, and rightly so, and makes the move done. Great job by everyone. Seems like a clean start, but it seems like Damien Cardos has done whatever, well, he's done the Rouge thing, basically, dirty air and out, but it's got no one else out, so a clean start, I would say, especially compared to race 1.
Yeah, absolutely. A rotten night for Damien Kardash. He's had an awful evening, especially, like I said, after qualifying. Really expected him to be further up, so disappointing for him and the Gallery 82 guys. But yeah, clean start. It looked like Koenig got shuffled out a little bit by Lino. Lino actually had the best start of the top 4 or 5. But Whitehouse's poor start really sort of boxed him in and he couldn't go any further. That let Clon get around the outside and get a nice run up the hill.
I think out of anyone, everyone likes Menno Clont on this grid. So everyone wants to see Clont do well. I know he was not happy in the slightest. You know, you have being unhappy with your pace, and you have literally what he was. He was so unhappy. He didn't even won a race. And now he's first. He got 8th in race 1, which he didn't even expect. Ooh, there's crashing sounds at the back. What is that about? Ooh, it's Leonov, who is on the grass. I'm not sure what happened there. I will check. Ooh, there's a spinner. Who is that? Tom Voss has binned it. Dirty air, and he has binned it. Lost his front wing, and even Leonov hit him, or couldn't do anything about it. Tom Voss getting. Ooh, and there's a spinner back. Who is it? Oh, that's Mark Fuller. He's literally done a flip. That looked pretty, but I'm sure he's not going to be happy with it. Anyway, we're looking at Pedro Gomez coming through Eau Rouge. So close on the back of Frank Hemming, who has done a great recovery drive so far, but Gomez has got a lot of top speed. Hemming doesn't have DRS, neither does anyone, because it's not activated yet. Pedro Gomez around the outside, and he takes the position. In front, there's a bit of fighting as well. We see Scott Mitchell making his way up the field, passing Simon Frelick, it seems like. Great fighting all around so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Lino's just made a move for second until they come at the end of the straight as well. So that's a good move for the Pescara man. Can he go and chase down Menno Clont for the lead?
He's got a lot of pace. He overtook Menno in race 1 for P7, if I'm right. So that got him an extra few points, actually an extra point. So let's see what he can do now. Now some equal tires. Menno has got a bit of a gap. It's 1.3 seconds, but Whitehouse didn't seem to have the pace that Menno did. Interestingly enough, tire strategy seems like the majority are on the mediums. We didn't talk about this, but I think everyone in the top 15 is on mediums. I think everyone in the entire field is on mediums. Matt Webb in 21st is not, though. He's on the softs, and that is the only guy. And Tom Voss has just pitted for a new front wing. Unfortunate for him. Well, just made a mistake in the dirty air, lost it, and Sven de Vries goes down on the inside on Steven Lexo. Sven de Vries has had brilliant pace. Seems like he likes the car more than the Formula Champs car, where he really has struggled for a long time. Even though he's second in the championship, clear that this car suits him more, though, to me.
Yeah, Bock and Quintai were side by side into the final corner there. Quintai managed to get through and ahead at the start of the lap. Obviously, Pescara got loads of straight line speed. Bock tried coming back at the end of the lap, but couldn't get the move done. Good defense from Quintai.
Yeah, and at the start, Quintai jumped Leon Bock, which we forgot to mention. This is big for the championship. But Bock has got the run now. He's got DRS, he's got Slipstream. We're looking at a fight between Galka, Pedersen, and other people as well. In the meantime, Bock is move around the outside, but doesn't go for it. In the meantime, what does Pedersen do? Crosses. And that is, a crash at the front. That's Quintai. No, it's not. Who is that? Bob Hoekstra is off together with George Whitehouse. That is a big crash for Whitehouse. He's lost his front wing. And Wopke Hoekstra has lost a lot of positions. He's now being threatened by Thomas Harvey. Does Wopke have damage? It seems like he may have some suspension damage. And, actually, Steven Lexo is involved as well. And there's almost another crash. He hits Pedersen. There's a lot of chaos going on here. But Steven, I'm going to look back at what happened there. Lexo's lost his front wing. Whitehouse has lost his front wing. And in the end, it was caused by Whitehouse crashing out Quintai, actually. And two drivers just not being able to avoid him. Both crossfires were not able to avoid him.
Yeah, that's terrible for the championship as well. Another situation for one of the leading teams in the championship. And all of a sudden,
mainly.
Yeah, exactly. Pescara again now looking as if they're going to really profit handsomely from it.
Wow. So basically, Quintai made the move onto Whitehouse around the outside. Then George Whitehouse clipped the rear of Quintai, which made Whitehouse spin and Quintai half spin. He kept it just barely. And then that was all fine, but then there was just more cars coming, which were the crossfires, and they could not avoid him. So Lexo hit Whitehouse, which, they both lost their front wing. And then I think actually Wopke doesn't have any damage necessarily, because he got through, but he did get blocked and lost a lot of positions.
While you were talking about that, Hammond made a really forceful move up into the bus stop, a bit of contact on Tom van der Voort. That's P15 for Hammond.
Yep. Forceful, but if it's within the rules, I'm not sure if it was. Galka in the meantime in the inside of Craig Pedersen. Seems like he has the corner. Pedersen breaks very late though, but he gives the corner to Galka, and that's a great move. He's moving up the order quite handsomely.
Yeah, absolutely. And Frelick just about defending from Ben Willis there as well. Almost losing the front wing there, Willis, but it was all clean in the end.
So, Scott Mitchell actually DNF'd or disconnected in one of the races in Hockenheim in the formation lap. And he did it again, which is very unfortunate because he had a good starting position, but no one could take the P10 away from him. His teammate in the meantime, P13, Scott Mitchell, about to make a move, as we see on my screen here. He's really fast, honestly. He's got a lot of pace. Gomez threatens to make the move. Obviously, Gomez was one of the fastest in qualifying, so I'm sure he's got a lot of pace in him as well. Obviously, crashed lap 1 or lap 2 in the previous race in Eau Rouge, which meant that unfortunately he DNF'd and had to start from the back. But he's back up to P14. A lot of people making an overtaking race of this. We have Jens Wolburn gaining a lot of place actually. He went from P16 to P7. Obviously we have Scott Mitchell doing the same, Gomez and Hemming doing the same, but they will have to. They have a lot of pace. And Frank Hemming now looking around the outside a bit on the bus stop at Pedro Gomez. At front, we have Gio Cepelino really being fast last lap, gaining 9/10 over Menno Klont. So we might see a move soon. I'm not sure how much wing the H2O Nemco guys are running, but that could be a factor that plays into it, as we know that Pescara has quite a bit of wing.
Absolutely. Hoekstra clearly hasn't got any damage because he's just done the fastest lap of the race, so he's looking to make up for the situation up at Lake Com. Yeah, it's all tight in the midfield, isn't it?
Well, it is. And not just in the midfield, also at the front. Quintai and Koenig have been side by side for like 3 corners in a row. And I'm not sure who was making the move on who. It was actually Quintai making the move on Koenig. But he hasn't managed because Koenig defended beautifully and is still in 4th.
Yeah, and that's massive news for Bock as well, as Quintai gets a little bit slidey through the corner with no name. They're going to get down to Pouon, but it's going to be so hard to follow that closely into the double left-hander. But yeah, you feel that Bock needs Quintai to be held up behind someone else to have any chance down into the braking zone, because, like you say, the Pescara with the wing set up so fast in the straight line.
Yeah, or he has to do it somewhere in sector 2, but then you're just, gonna get overtaken again. So it's honestly a lose-lose situation for Bock. He just has to wait and honestly hope for a mistake, or has to have an amazing exit so that he, even with a top speed deficit, normally can, get a lot of draft and get a lot of DRS out of it. So Lino at front, gonna make a move around the outside of Menoclont. He is not, but he was close to doing it. I'm sure Menoclont has loads of issues here in on Camel Straight next time around. Just make sure you don't lose out on DRS. And I honestly think Sven de Vries has shown a lot of pace. 49.8. That's almost a second faster than what the guys in front of him are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be interesting to see what Lino's got defensively for De Vries as well as offensively for Klomp. We know he's absolutely fantastic on the brakes from race 1. So let's see what De Vries can do to get these two guys ahead.
Well, it could be a 3 wide moment here. Menoclont defending the inside. Actually, no, he doesn't give Sven the inside. There's 3 wide. Sven has to back out of this. But Lino takes the position and actually, Sven, don't hit Menno. They hit each other. Sven goes round and that is horrible. Menno has managed to keep it together. But Sven is losing a lot of position, and that was 100% on.
Koenig goes round.
Koenig gets round, and did he lose? No, he didn't lose his front wing. He's fine, but he needs to spin around and get back on the track safely, and he does so. But Sven de Vries, that was a rookie mistake. He just beached down the curbs, and it's Menno's lucky he's still alive, honestly, because that was a forceful hit, but he's managed to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely, and you could kind of see it happening. There's not an awful lot you can do when you get that wide. Yeah, that's a shame because it was looking like a really good battle up front, not just between Lino and Klomp, but also De Vries was joining that with the speed he had. So, big mistake from Sven, and then obviously Philip dropping down with his mistake as well.
Yeah, you just saw it coming from a mile away. But I will tell you something, if Lino wins this race, I will literally say that this is the best performance out of anyone this year in any single race, race weekend rather. He's come in, from what I've heard, last moments. I think maybe even the last 30 minutes before the race, before the quali, as we see even Leonov limping without a front wing. And he has done phenomenally. Obviously, qualifying wasn't great, but you can't expect that. He probably was there to give a slipstream to Quinte more than to actually qualify himself. And now, he went up to 7th. He actually helped Quinte get the win, because I don't think Quinte had the pace of Bach in that race. But because of the move Lino made and how he managed it and held Bach up a bit legally, he managed to get the win for Quinte. Now, he's on a fantastic start. He's up to P1, and he might just win this. He's got a big gap, but who doesn't have a big gap anymore is Quinte, as Bach goes around the outside. Quinte doesn't brake quite late enough, and Bach gets the position.
Yeah, good move from Bach. He knew exactly what he was doing. This is probably the bravest we've seen him on the brakes, but that's because he knew that it was a high percentage move. He wasn't going to do anything silly to put either him or Kinsai at risk. Good move from Bach, important for the championship.
It really is, and to see Giuseppe Lino and Menoclont on the podium, it really shows how important it was to stay clean in that one race. As we see another crash behind somewhere, I'm not sure what that is. Oh, it's Scott Mitchell. Scott Mitchell is out. He was 14th. What happened there? I'm just looking at the replay now. Oh, he got legged into. Oh no, that is horrible. Scott Mitchell's luck doesn't stop being horrible. He got legged into by Frank Hemming. Again, Frank Hemming has leg issues which need to be sorted out because he killed someone else in race 1. Tom Voss that was. And now he's killed the very unfortunate Scott Mitchell. This is... I like Frank Hemming, but this is unacceptable in my opinion.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and obviously as someone who doesn't drive in the league, for me from the outside, it feels very unlucky that that's happening to a driver. Having said that, if you know that you've got a lag issue and you're putting other drivers' nights at risk, then I've seen in Formula Challenge. I think Dan Hurlock, in Canada, he voluntarily pulled into the pits and retired as soon as he noticed that he had a lag spike. So it's very interesting to see that, especially 2 races in a row. Terrible luck for Scott Mitchell because he has been fast all night.
He was really flying, and it's a shame because both rows are now out. And yeah, it is just horrible. Talking about Ben Willis and big fight going on there with choosing better of it there. Yeah, you say you're pulling out when you notice leg spike. I've seen people do that, and honestly, my full respect is out to them. But I admit I wouldn't do that myself. I just honestly, at that point. As a
Yeah.
racing driver, it's gonna sound selfish to say that I don't care about legging anyone out, basically. Even though obviously it sucks massively. But
Yeah.
when you're racing, you just want the best points. And practicing so many hours just to retire voluntarily, I personally wouldn't do it. But I respect the people that do because it's so hard to decide on that.
Yeah, and like I said, from the outside in, to me it does seem it's unlucky for a driver to have to experience that, especially when we haven't seen it happen throughout the rest of the season. Some drivers do have constant lag spikes, and that is an issue that they need to be sorted out. If it's just a once in a blue moon thing, then it's unfortunate for everyone involved. It's not just that one person. Do you know what I mean?
It is. And I think it may have been, Frank Hemming hasn't got many leg spikes normally. I think this is the first time we've really seen any big leg spikes on him, but it's happened twice in one race. So it indicates there is an issue. And it happens when someone leaves. It just happened to be Ivan Leonov, after retiring, has left the server. And that causes the leg spike. But it's not just a tiny leg spike. Scott Mitchell was literally seconds behind him. About 2 to 3 seconds. So it was a big leg spike. That needs sorting. Obviously, you can't just say nobody's allowed to leave the server. That's not within the rules. Can't get angry at people leaving the server because that's literally allowed. So, we just see Menno Klont while we're squabbling about.
Oh, that was close.
Forcing him a bit onto the grass, but now, going around the outside is Buck. He's made this move before. Menno Klont, he's fighting with this team in the championship, but he knows that this is not, you can't sustain this. And it gets passed by Buck. Now Buck is on his way to Giuseppe Lino, who has got good papers, because we know of the Pescara car, undoubtedly they will have the good setup, or the same setup rather. Frelick has just DNF'd actually, and he has... What has happened to him? I just keep looking. He has just... He's just disconnected. He was driving, and literally a millisecond later he was DNF'd. He was driving in the points, so very unfortunate to see for him. Disconnected.
What's interesting to me then is, since the pit stop in race 1, and obviously now they're on the mediums as well, Buck has had a lot more pace than Kintai. On the softs, they were close. Buck is a lot faster on these tyres than Kintai is. Kintai hasn't been able to keep up with him, really. We saw that he was able to keep him behind on the soft tyres in race 1 as well. Buck flew past in race 2, so that's interesting. Here it comes Quintai to the outside of Klont. Late break in, that's going to be close. He makes it stick, but Klont's going to get the switch back.
Well, a move, but now you're kind of ruined for the next straight, because high chance that Menno Klont will cross back, or actually outbrakes. Ooh, and he drifts, and that allows Walborn through. I didn't expect Quintai and Klont to fight this hard, but he's really going for every position. Now, actually, Klont giving the position over, or the draft over to Quintai. Obviously, they're fighting in the championship, and the cross. Ooh, and Menno Klont goes wide, and that forces Walborn wide as well. Klont seems to act like Walborn is his teammate almost. Now,
the freeze was all on the grass as well out of Eau Rouge.
Ooh, and he will be as well now. Ooh, this could be 4 wide. Menno Klont and Quintai going around the outside. He's going to do the same as Sven does. But Sven now tries to go around the outside of Quintai as he has a little squabble and he gets forward wide, and Sven spins and he hits Wopke Hoekstra. And that is the end of the race for Wopke. Oh, he's got everything on his car. He didn't lose anything. But Sven, he has killed 2 of his Dutch friends. I know Menno is good friends with him. I know Wopke is good friends with him. And he's almost killed 2 of them. But in the end, it's him that's been losing out the most. I have no idea how Wopke didn't lose a front wing there.
I was just about to say, before that incident, I don't understand how everyone is pointing in the right direction. Because you could see something happening from La Source onwards. I mean, there was contact at La Source, and then it looked like they were going to go side by side through a Rouge. They managed to sensibly file into one. Klont went a little bit wide at the first right-hander of a Rouge, and then it all kicked off. So, yeah, absolute chaos. And like you said, it's good that most have all of their wings, if I can learn to speak English.
No worries, mate. I know exactly how it feels like to not know to speak it like this. I just anyway. So we have Lino leading, but he's being reeled in by Buck Lino just did a 50.6 actually, which is quite fast, but then Leon Buck just tops it with a 50.0. 6 tenths per lap, meaning if we had a little bar at the thing, like F1 does, saying it will take 5 laps to reach him, it would say 2 laps, I would say. 2 to 3 laps. And that's, we have 5 laps to go. So we will probably see a fight for the lead as we hear some crashing sounds. Quinte Clont are fighting again, and now Quinte has that position. So, Harvey has actually been in Eau Rouge in the slipstream of Opco Extra, and that is not the first time, if I'm correct, this race weekend. So he's pulled over to the side. Thomas Harvey, newest DNF. Tom Vos going to the pits as well. His race is basically over. So still a lot of DNFs, but it's not happening in such a spectacular fashion as it happened in race 1.
No, exactly. First time is a mistake, second time is foolish. So I'm sure a lot of people have rectified their issues from race 1 and got it sorted for race 2.
Yep, they have. They really seem to be more careful around Eau Rouge. Unfortunate for Harvey, it did catch him out again. So Sven de Vries has had so many instances in this race too. He's still 9th. He's still so fast. I think he may have even had the fast lap of the race. No, he doesn't. Leonbach, 49.2. By far the fastest lap out there. Well, not by far. Lexo, who crashed out earlier, actually did a 49.3. So he's close. But obviously, he's got new tires and it's in clean air. We see Pedro Gomez now fighting with Renault Kant. He's going to wait for the straight. Quinte are breaking himself a bit. And at the front, Bach is now within DRS range of Giuseppe Lino, but we have a lot of fights going on.
Look at the gap difference on that last lap. Bach was a second faster, so no wonder he's right up to the back of Lino. Is that Lino trying to protect and keep his tyres for the last few laps and make sure he's got something to defend with, or is that just that Bach has that much speed?
I suspect it's just Bach having that much more speed. Lino came in as a last-minute reserve. He didn't even think about being first, and now he is. I doubt he will be able to hang on to it, but the Pescara top speed will definitely help.
Holy moly, how did Quinte keep that one going straight? They made contact, Quinte and Warborn down the Kemmel straight, and Quinte had 1, 2, 3, 4 different bites at trying to straighten the car up. Excellent car control. Warborn goes wide again.
I'm looking at the replay. Yes, that was a Maldonado move, like in Austria years back when he tried to pull out of the DRS and just barely kept it straight. That was great car control. Just the tiniest of touches meant that the car became almost uncontrollable, but just barely managed to keep up and held it straight. Yeah, good spot.
Yeah, it's another one that I'm trying to figure out how he's still going in a straight line, because that was a massive moment.
If everything that should have happened actually happened, then we would have had 20 DNFs. But it ended up only being 7 of them so far. Those being Thomas Harvey, the latest, and Frelick, who just straight up DNF'd. Scott Mitchell getting legged into after showing great pace. Leonov crashing out. Matt Webb crashing out? Question mark? I don't remember. George Whitehouse also crashing out. And Demian Cardes, lap 1, Eau Rouge. But for the lead, we see Leon Bach here with Giuseppe Lino, and I honestly think there's nothing Lino can do because the pace difference is just too big. In race 1 with Quinte, the pace difference was there, but it wasn't big enough. I think with Giuseppe Lino, this pace difference is just too big for him to hold up.
I think we've got more trouble coming. Volbon, Quinte, Gomez, Clont, Hoekstra just about grabbing to the end of that group as well. So close between them.
And now Lino is probably a sitting duck. Well, look at the top speed. This is with DRS and draft, but Lino still keeps up and he breaks late. Actually, he wants to keep this position. Oh, so close, and they touch. Oh, that is not very clean, but has he got the move done? Yes, he does. As wheel banging. I think that was just on the limit behind Quinte. On the inside, this is a spin. No, it's not. He keeps it straight again, as somehow Warborn is not giving up. He's not giving an inch.
Remember I said trouble at the start of the lap? Yeah, we almost had it. Looked like Volbon went wide at Les Combes over the curb, and that allowed Quinte to get side by side. Somehow they didn't take each other out through the right-hander then, and again, Quinte managing to keep his car in the right direction. But yeah, these guys need to calm it down, otherwise none of them are finishing.
Yes. I don't know how Quinte and, for example, Bob Hoekstra have still got their cars intact and they're still fast, because they should have been DNF'd because of all the incidents they've been in and all of the close calls they've been in. But they are still going. So is Sven as well, one of them. And now Quinte definitely gonna try and get a look. I think Buck's gonna win this one. Gonna walk away. Lino will be second, which is a phenomenal performance. Absolute massive respect for him. But Quinte, as we see on board on Pedro Gomez right now, going around the outside. Ooh, Walburn locking his brakes. Gomez fancies to look around the outside as well. Now, this could be good for him. Gets forced to the AstroTurf a bit. And this gives Menoclon to look around the outside, actually. He's got the position so far. Gomez breaks late, though. So does Menno, but I think Gomez... Ooh, there's a slight touch there. Menno has a better exit around the outside, but Pedro Gomez still has the position. Opko Hoekstra is right up their tail and actually lifts off very smartly because now he's got less dirty air. Klon needs to be careful that he doesn't get too much dirty air here and spins out like we've seen too many times before. And now he can get the run back onto Pedro Gomez.
Yeah, really good racing in the end from all 5 of them.
Good friends. Take it easy. I don't know why he went for the outside. There was enough gap at the inside, but Menno defends. So does Walborn at front. For some reason, Quinte cannot get past Yannis Walborn.
No, Yannis is braking really late as well, to be fair to him. Doing a really, really good job keeping all of them behind, not just Alessandro, because everyone seems to have a lot more pace than him. But yeah, Alessandro managed to squeeze Gomez out through the last corner as well. I thought it was really clever driving from a Pescara man. But he really, really needs to get past Walborn here for the championship.
Yes, every point matters, especially the jump from 4 to 3 is 3 points difference. So he really wants this, and we have 2 laps to go. So realistically, it's only one more overtaking opportunity, unless you count Blanchimont as one. But I think Camel Straight is really the big one, because if you overtake him in Blanchimont, it's possible, but it's likely you're going to be overtaken back again after, you hit Camel Straight again. But he's quite far now.
Yeah, well, they're side by side through most of the heavy braking zones. It's just Volbon's managing to brake so late and so down the inside. He's managing to keep a decent defensive line to keep the position. We'll see how close Kintai gets this time round. Looks like he's further back than he was last lap, so he'll have a cleaner run down the Camel Straight.
Talking about, well, I don't know what, I was going to make a smooth transition, but we're not talking about this anyway. But anyway, Giuseppe Lino and Leon Bock, they're so far ahead. They're 10 seconds ahead of P3 of Yannis Walborn. And obviously they're fighting, but this just shows that they've got such good pace in them. And to be fair, Lino only 2 seconds back of Bock, so he's definitely got the pace. Now, watching Quinte, we see Galka as well side by side with Hemming. Quinte takes a bit of risk through Eau Rouge. He's definitely going to go for a move there. He's been closer than he has ever been before, and this is probably the last shot he's going to get. Maybe Blanchimont inside defended by Walborn. He always breaks late, but he's already ahead. Quinte, Walborn tries to outbrake him, but Quinte does the same, and now Gomez has a look around the outside. Can he make this move stick? He is around the inside now. He gets the inside line, but just barely holds on is Yannis Walborn. As Klon threatens a tiny bit of a move. But I think this is not the end of it till yet. Quinte is off into the distance. Look at the gap he's pulled in one corner, basically, or 2 corners. But I think this will get a final tale, a final story at the end of this lap in Blanchimont, in bus stop, because I think this fight's not over yet.
No, absolutely, and there was a very lucky driver. It was either Hoekstra or Klon. They were on the grass down the Camel Straight, so I don't know whether they had a bit of contact in the RS zone. But yeah, another one lucky to be pointing the right way down the straight.
There we go then, Leon. Oh, Lino is letting Quinte by. This is great. Honestly, I hate to see it for Lino, but this is great for the
sensible. It's sensible.
It is really sensible, and it is a good decision. But Lino deserves every bit of praise here. As Pedro Gomez tries to go for a move, Wopke tries to go for a move in the meantime. Liam Buck wins the race. Very good job by him. But there is more moves. Wopke tries it. Menno Klont actually cuts back. He's right around the outside now, and it's going to be a drag race to the finish between the two. Doesn't open DRS for some reason, and crosses the line. Is Menno in front of Wopke, in front of Frank, in front of Galka, in front of Yannis Walborn, manages to hold on compared to Pedro Gomez. But Leon Bock doing an absolute amazing race, finishing first and just dominating. He was amazing in this race too, like we know that he normally is. Quinte finishing a fantastic... the broski doing some donuts before he's even finished the race, and I don't know what this is about. Anyway, Quinte coming in second after Lino being very sensible and letting Quinte through, who's fighting for the championship, as we see the broski crossing the line backwards. But yeah, Lino, massive respect to him. He was phenomenal, and he really deserves this podium. Dennis Wolborn, absolute fantastic drive. I'm just checking where he finished right now, or not where he finished, but where he started from. So Wolborn started from 16th, and he got up to P4. Phenomenal job. Pedro Gomez doing great as well. Menoclon 6th. He's going to be so delighted with that, I'm sure. He scored points, even top 8s twice in both races, which I'm sure he didn't expect at the start. Wopke Hoekstruck finishing behind him. Then Frank Hemming doing a great recovery drive as well. Galka in 9th. And then Ziubinski in P10. That's a mouthful. What do you think of this race, Ewan? What an absolute sensation.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, a few really good comebacks. Volborn 4th, Gomez, of course, he retired in race 1. So to come back to 5th, that proves how much pace he had and what we missed in race 1. Hamming, important as well, came into the Rounders Championship leader. Obviously, poor race 1, he lost that championship lead, but the points will help at the end, like we said. With Quintai getting through, every point helps. Really sensible from Pescara there as well, I think. No one can doubt how much speed that Giuseppe Lino had, but if he's only in for one round at the moment, it makes absolute sense to let Quintai through. That's why Quintai had to get past Volborn.
Absolutely. So we will go on to the interviews now. First interviewee is Tom Voss, who has had an unfortunate weekend, to say the least. But he's shown great pace. Tom, this is not what you wanted, but how are you feeling?
For the team, I'm feeling fine. For myself, not. But yeah, great result for my team at least. So
How
they
does it
finished.
feel? Sorry,
Yeah,
go on.
okay.
How does
They
it feel being
finished.
lagged? How does
Oh
it
yeah,
feel being lagged out by your own driver? That's what I wanted to ask.
yeah. That's unfortunate for him. People are leaving. People got lagged, so I think there needs to be done something about that. Uh, yeah, it was him. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, it was unfortunate for him also because he is in the championship fight. Yeah, so I'm feeling sorry for him.
And for yourself, what do you think would have been possible? Because honestly, I saw you had a lot of pace. You were 8th in qualifying, if I'm right,
Yeah,
and you were all right up there in lap 1, and then unfortunately the lag thing happened. So what do you think you could have done in both of these races?
I think I should have finished behind Lexo, but uh, was that like P7? I guess.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, I guess
I
P7.
think P5 or P6 even.
Yeah, I don't know what happened in the second race then, but yeah, there was some great pace in the car. So yeah, more things to come, I guess.
Yeah, so you will do more races here,
Don't know yet.
but you want to.
We will see.
All right. All right. Thank you a lot for the interview, and we'll see you in FC at least, and hopefully in Supercup in the future as well.
Thanks.
So next interview will be with David Carter, who I think will be happy, though we don't know until we ask the man himself. Are you happy, David? How are you feeling?
You know what? In these situations, and it's been a rough 4 weeks. As the whole lineup's changed. I'll take that. And see, Stephen Lexo had less than 24 hours practice and got P5, and should have got more points in race 2 as well. But for the incident that we got caught up in again, we tend to be a magnet to these incidents that we don't cause. But yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm, as regarding the points we need to be where we want to be, yeah, I'm happy with that performance. And a massive credit to Wopke and Stephen the last few days and literally last few days. They've come in pretty short notice and done a fantastic job. So, yeah, all the credit goes to them, really, as we've been, as I say, a little bit messed over last week or so, shall we say.
Are they here to stay for the rest of the season? What is the plan with your drivers? Obviously, you had Matteo Keersmakers and David Junt.
Yeah.
Now you have 2 new drivers who have done a phenomenal job.
Yeah, and firstly, I should have said to start with massive thank you to Matteo and David for their efforts in the last few months. 9 rounds. So it's been outstanding. But we move on. We hope they have great careers still at GPVWC. Regarding Stephen and Wopke, there'll be emergency drivers, and we plan to have Janos Braksok in for the final 4 rounds of the season. So that'll be spicy for sure.
Instead of who is that?
Janos Braksok has
Instead of-
raced. Sorry?
Instead of who? Instead of
So
what?
these 2 are emergency drivers. So I believe Janos will be in for Stephen because Stephen's racing for 3 rounds.
Okay.
Wopke can race for 4 if he wants to. And then the other driver, we don't know yet because honestly, we don't know who to sign. Really. So we're still in the market for a driver there, but it's not ideal. But the people that we're getting in, they're guys I can trust. They're brilliant guys to work with at the moment. I'm really, really, really happy, and a massive thanks to both Wopke and Stephen for steering the ship.
Yeah, you've done a great job, and these drivers really seem to have been a great choice. So excited to see what the championship will bring. It's very close, so best of luck for the next few races. So we will move in a very happy team, I would reckon, especially. It will be actually. I can't move them in, so we'll do that later. Actually, just asking Rob, can you after this interview move up the Razor guys from down there? But we'll now do Sven de Vries, who had an accident-prone second race with a very good pace in both races. Sven, you crashed a bit with your Dutch friends. How are you feeling?
I did. It was it didn't really go to plan. It was quite eventful, so it was good fun. The first tango at Menno was my mistake. For some reason, I assumed he wasn't going to defend it, and when I saw he did, which he absolutely has all rights to do so, it was too late, and I went too wide and touched that curb. And when she hit that curb, the car will just go straight. So I just went straight into Menno and spun. Gonna turn around fairly quickly. But after that, it was getting a bit squeezed off by Quintai a couple times and spun again, and then took Wopke with me in the process. Surprised he had all the wings in that car after that hit. So after that, I managed to battle my way back up a little bit, and Root was telling me the guys in front of me were doing 154s. So closed that gap, and then my rear tires and damage said, good luck. And then I spun it going up to Blanchimont on the last lap, so that was that. But all in all, it was pretty fun and pretty eventful.
So you left Formula Challenge, I think, because of the driving standards, if I'm right, or was it the car that suited you?
No,
more?
I love the car. I don't really like the Supercup car. I think the Formula Challenge is a very fun car to drive, and really gives the opportunity for really awesome battles if people want to. I don't think it's a matter of people not being able to do it. I think it's more a matter of not wanting to do it. People tend to get very competitively, and if somebody can get a position, then more often than not they'll get the position, no matter what it takes, even if it means pushing you off or crashing you off. So I think all in all it was pretty fun here. I enjoy myself.
All right. Well, it's good to hear that you're here to stay. Congratulations on very good pace and good results. So we'll see you in 2 weeks then.
Sounds good. Thanks for the broadcast, guys.
You're welcome, mate. So next guy, probably a very happy guy, at least for one race. Philip Koenig, he did amazing to get a very, very solid result in race 1. Philip, you had an unfortunate race 2, but I don't think you can be unhappy with how race 1 went, can you?
There was a race 2? No. Actually, race 1, I'm super happy because if you look at my quali pace, I think I was over a second of the pace. And then in the race, the last time I looked at it, I think my PB was just half a second of the fastest lap. And even though I hadn't had much top speed, I could keep up with the guys in front of me and even reel them in. And it was fun to drive. And for the team, for the points, I'm really, really happy. I mean, I came from P20, and I don't know, in the crashes in the first few laps wiped out about, 17 cars in front of me, and I finished P6 or something.
Yeah, I think P6.
So,
yes.
just really, really delighted after quali.
you were only 10 seconds behind the win as well. It wasn't just people crashing. You really had some solid pace. But let's talk about the race that didn't happen, race 2. Can you walk us through what went wrong there? I think,
Yeah. I had a really good start, and then in turn 1 I got pushed out a little bit to the outside, and that was still fine. I said to myself, okay, I'm P4, even if I lose, I don't know, 2 or 3 places, I can still be happy with some points. And then Quintain came up behind me, and once I could defend on Camel Straight. And then the second time he went past me, I tried to brake alongside him. And at first, it felt like he pushed me off in the I forgot the name of the corner, turn 5, turn 6. But I just looked, I just watched the replay, and he came in from a wide angle, and by the time he tried to turn the car into the next corner, into the left-hander, I was already turning into the corner, and actually it was my mistake to make contact with him, and then the car was a bit, I don't know, a bit wonky to drive, and then I think two corners later I spun, and then my tires were just, yeah, they didn't really like to drive anymore afterwards. So yeah, that was sad.
That's unfortunate, but still, congratulations on your great race one. It's great to see you up there quite often,
thanks.
actually, recently. So congratulations, and we'll see you as well in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so the final interview of today will be with the whole team of Razor. Congratulations, first of all. I'm sure you're all very happy with this. Starting with Leon. I think you scored the most points out of anyone. Actually, no, you and Quincy, I think, are tied. But as usual, you've shown amazing pace. But you didn't seem to be able to pass Quinte in race 1. I think it was on top speed. At least that's the vibes I got from it. Walk us through that. What happened? Why couldn't you make the move? I think you had a lot more pace in you.
It's really cautious because I didn't want to risk anything in this race. I knew Hemming was out, and I tried to get just the most points because I know Quinte is really hard, difficult to overtake, and I just didn't want to risk anything.
That makes sense. So you're currently leading the championship quite comfortably. I'd say about 15 points. Are you still thinking on a race-by-race basis, or are you, as you said, you were really thinking about the big picture, where you're not thinking, I want to win this race, but Hemming's out, so, any points I get right now is a bonus. So you're really thinking more in terms of the championship, are you?
Yeah, I think we saw in Silverstone that just basically like my PC can crash, and then I lose like a 20 points gap. So I still have to gain some points to be like sure that or comfortable that I have gap that I can manage to the end to win the championship. So yeah, I'm just trying my best every race and try to achieve the most points.
And it seems to be working. Congratulations. Moving on to your teammate, Yannis Walborn, also doing a fantastic job. Unfortunately, though, I'll start with the bad thing, race 1. Walk us through what happened there.
Yeah, well, I got a hit in turn 1, then my rear left suspension was damaged, and then I lost the car out of radio.
That's unfortunate, but that meant you had to pull a comeback race in the second one, and in no time you were up to P6, P7. What happened at the start? How did you gain so much positions?
Yeah, well, I was surprised. Somebody, I think Galka, has braked very early. I thought that was the dive bomb of my life, but I actually got a corner. Yeah, well, and then the other guys just took out themselves.
Okay, so that's how you gained a lot of positions then. And in the end, it was close with Quinte. You had a lot of battles. Walk us through that. It was, you really didn't seem to give up. You really braked late, made the corner, and it was real tough for him to pass you. Talk us through that.
Yeah, well, I tried to make it as hard as possible for him. to help Leon with his championship as well as I can. Steal the points from Quintay. Yeah, well, then I had the one lockup into bus stop, and yeah, we lost like 5 to 6% on the front right, and then yeah, my tire just gave up in the end.
All right, that's unfortunate, but still a very, very good comeback drive. So congratulations, and I'm excited to see what Razor can do in the next couple of rounds. And talking about Razor, team boss Bastian Peiser is also with us. Bastian, I think at the start of the season, I honestly didn't even consider Razor a championship contender. I thought it was between Pescara, H2O, and who am I missing? Crossfire. But then you signed Leon eventually, and eventually they all got into the rhythm, and now you seem to be scoring the most points every single race. How has this improvement, how have you done this improvement? What has changed over the season? Because you really seem to be basically favorites, even though you're still behind on points.
I think it's a mixture of several things. First of all, Yannis is from the get-go quick driver. He was every time. Last year the same. Just remember Monaco last year. And yeah, then I got lucky to sign Leon, and that was our big catch for the season. And we had several other options to choose other drivers for the seat. And yeah, I tried with the signing of Leon to get Yannis a bit out of his comfort zone and to get a bit more moving, and to yeah, get a little bit of a rivalry between the both of them, and yeah, that both of them can actually grow off each other and get faster every race, and yeah, fine tune the setup and stuff. And I think over the last races it worked out pretty well. Silverstone was good tactics from us, I think. And this race is just yeah, if you have good top speed and a good overall setup, you end up in the top. And the Pescara guys had a very fast setup, to be honest, but a very hard driving style as well, which made it hard for us to overtake. So we just took the safe option and stayed behind, and only attacked when we were sure to overtake them. And yeah, I think for the next races we can grow on that, and yeah, and gain on our racecraft a little bit more, and yeah, I hope it will be even better for the next races with more double podiums if possible.
Sounds very promising. Thank you guys a lot for the interviews. Congratulations. And I'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time. Actually, some of you will see tomorrow, I think. So best of luck, guys. Thank you a lot. Okay, so we had all the interviews done. There were a lot of them. In last few races, we had little to no interviews, actually. So I'm surprised the whole broadcast interview room is full. But we went through them. Ewan, do you have something to say to the watchers, to the fans?
I do. There's something interesting, Liam. In the Discord chat, there has been a rule popped in which says drivers are not permitted to artificially alter the outcome of a race and or championship by deliberately swapping positions in the final lap of a race in a way that is deemed to be dangerous. Now, one of the things that's brought up in that is intentionally slowing down and losing time by the driver's own control, e.g. 10% slower than the previous 3 laps average. Now, I don't know what lap times the liner was doing, but I think he was right on the back of Leon Bock at the end of the race in race 2 there, and Bock ended up about 12 seconds ahead. So that could be a bit of an issue for Pescara.
Wow, I didn't know that rule. And to be fair, I don't really agree with that rule, but I can see why it's there. And that is going to be post-race drama again, which we'll all discuss as we'll be back in 2 weeks' time at Monza for the Supercup race. Tomorrow, we will have Super League Lights at Spa as well. Same time, same channel. And then the day after that, we will have the Premier Series Super League brought to you by GPVWC. So don't miss that. Thank you all for watching, and good night.
To keep up to date with the latest GPVWC videos, click on the subscribe button, or check out more of our exciting sim racing action by choosing a video. For more information on the league, visit gpvwc.com.